Rundown. More coming up.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Hey, it's Wednesday at 4:20. We'll speak with Zach Smith on the latest Supreme Court decision. And at 5:20, we'll speak with Craig Lombardi, who's running for mayor of Godfrey, Illinois.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore to tell you about Michael's Flooring. Michael's is known for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. Installing new flooring should be exciting, not a hassle you dread. Michael's has solved that, and their long list of happy repeat customers is proof. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, ceramic tile, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring, with 3 locations, St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Tony Colombo here for the Farmers Co-op Old Town Country Store in Old Town St. Peters, where they have a huge selection of products and services for your yard and home, including a full line of lawn and garden products, a full line of products for animal care, and that includes anything from livestock to the family dog or cat. They'll fill any size propane tank for about half the price of a new one, and so much more. Visit them in St. Peters on 2nd Street, right behind the QT at 70 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and check out all their products and services at oldtowncountrystore.com.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, unfortunately, there's a serious threat to your home. It's called title fraud. Criminals forge a document, file it, just like that, your title is stolen. They can even take out loans against your property. That's why I'm urging you to use Home Title Lock. They provide 24/7 monitoring, alerts, and restoration of your title if fraud occurs. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code BILL25 for 25% off their protection plans. That's HomeTitleLock.com, code BILL25. On this Wednesday, big gamble on the part of President Trump regarding Ukraine. As we have been reporting, the president is not condemning Vladimir Putin because he wants a ceasefire, and Putin can make that happen. No one else can. So instead of lambasting bad Vlad, Mr. Trump is courting him for what he believes is the greater good, a stoppage of the fighting in Ukraine and a deal for the USA. It's risky. Clear-thinking people know the Russian leader is a killer. I will vividly document that in my upcoming book, Confronting Evil. In fact, Putin, a tyrant, shares the cover with Mao, Hitler, and the Ayatollah Khomeini. Murderers row. President Trump not only wants Putin to stop the killing in Ukraine, he's also trying to weaken the Russian-China-Iran alliance. Obviously, an important geopolitical strategy. Now, I don't know if appeasing Putin will work, but opposing him, mocking him, denigrating him will definitely not stop the madness anytime soon. There is danger playing nice with this guy, but there's also a big potential reward. And that is what President Trump is after. I believe he may get it. Back after this. Ivermectin. It's a name you've heard before, but getting access can be a hassle. That's why you need to check out All Family Pharmacy. They're a licensed pharmacy in Florida, providing ivermectin and other hard-to-get meds. They take care of the prescription and ship it right to your door. You can even stock up in bulk. Please visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 for 10% off. Be proactive. Being prepared isn't just a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. A few sprinkles are possible this morning and into the afternoon. Accumulation so minor, I don't expect that you'll be using the windshield wipers much. And if you leave the rain gear at home, that's okay too. Mostly cloudy skies this afternoon, a high of 64 degrees. A weak front is pushing in. This would put our overnight temperatures back into the 30s tonight and keep us slightly lower for our temperatures on Thursday. We warm up Friday and then cool down for the weekend. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
To every referee, umpire, and judge in high school sports, we want to say, we see you.
We see everything you do for us that goes unnoticed.
We see the positive role models that you are.
We see the way you get unfairly criticized just for doing your job.
The truth is, we couldn't play without you.
So thank you for investing your time in us.
Thank you for protecting the integrity of the game, no matter what.
We hope you always know how much we appreciate you.
Because without you, this is just recess. It's not really a game.
Thank you for always making it possible for us to play the sports we love.
Want to serve the students in your community? Sign up to become an official in Missouri at highschoolofficials.com.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Missouri.
This message presented by the MSH-SAA and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the News Talk STL app.
News Talk STL.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the News Talk STL app.
Anywhere. For podcasts, articles, and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Having your your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, I know it's a long shot. I get it. It's a long shot. But can you imagine if Andrew Jones won enough votes next week to advance to the general election in the race for mayor of St. Louis? That would be essentially the political upset of the century around here, if not in the Midwest. Can that happen? Well, we're going to talk to Andrew at 7:05. Hey, good morning. Mike Ferguson here. As always, appreciate you making News Talk STL part of this Wednesday morning. All right, and speaking of what's happening around the area here, we're not planning to build any stadiums around here. The Cardinals kind of tiptoed around. Maybe we could get some public help with some upgrades to Busch Stadium. That didn't really go very far. But in Kansas City, the two major league teams over there, the Royals, the Chiefs, obviously, they really want new stadiums, and they just want other people to pay for it. But that other people could also be us. We caught up with Patrick Tuohey from the Show Me Institute on Tuesday's show to get a lay of the land and why this isn't just a bad idea for St. Louis. It's just a bad idea overall. Here's what he had to say.
We're joined now by Patrick Tuohey from the Show Me Institute. Good blog that he wrote called Missouri Must Protect Taxpayers from Sports Subsidies. And so regardless of whether we're talking like Stell was talking about there, Patrick, with the Bears or the White Sox or whoever, every once in a while, the principles and the concepts are the same. The argument's going to be, in this case, but the Cardinals, the Royals and the Chiefs are threatening to go across the state line and into Kansas, and we just can't lose them. And so I know the lawmakers there don't want to be the ones running for re-election if they lose the world champions or former world champions out there. So I get the emotional appeal, but let's talk about that protecting taxpayers part of this.
Well, taxpayers need protection. And for decades, and you gentlemen are right, it's not just Missouri. Every state in the country that has a professional team at some point wrestles with this. And yes, it seems like every 10 years, they're asked to wrestle with it again. And there are plenty of ways that we as taxpayers subsidize these billionaire ballparks. But I have to say, it's our own fault. We have set up the rules. We have set up the incentives. We have fallen for every claim over the years. And so if you were a ball team owner, you would be a fool not to ask for subsidies because the public has said yes for so long.
Good morning, Patrick. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So how real are the threats? Because, the suggestion is, oh no, we're going to lose the ballpark, or we're going to lose the ball team. They're going to go to another town and we're going to lose all kinds of millions and billions of dollars in economic activity. How real is that?
Okay. So there are at least two questions there. The first is, how often do teams pick up and leave? And certainly you can find all sorts of examples of teams that have left. But what attracts teams are being in good markets. And so the first duty of any municipal leader is to make your city a good market. And if you do, hotels, restaurants, convention centers, developers will come to your city. Just subsidizing those amenities and making your town look like it's economically vibrant when it isn't does not work. We can talk about Baltimore if you want as a perfect example. But the other question is, what is the economic impact of having these stadia? Certainly, it is a boost to a city's ego, perhaps, or their self-image to have a team. But the economic impact are nil. And I can explain it to you briefly. Let's say somebody builds a new grocery store across the street from your house. You may go to the new grocery store, but you will not also go to the previous grocery store you went to. You only have so many dollars. And so adding or subtracting an entertainment choice from your city does not put more money in your pocket. It just gives you one more choice. So when a team shows up, there is no great economic impact because people simply divert their spending from bowling or dinner or movies to go see the game. And likewise, when a team leaves, people just spend that money differently. We are told time and again that teams drive economic development. It isn't true. Evidence 1 and 2 are St. Louis and Kansas City. We have seen that areas around stadia don't grow necessarily. And so, again, we are made this romantic claim, but the numbers, the economics, just don't substantiate it.
Good morning, Patrick Stalponticus here. So I'm guessing you've done the research on this, and I know this is going to hurt some people to think about it and talk about it. But what about the economic impact of the Rams coming from LA and then returning to LA? I'm sure you guys have done some research on how that impacted downtown St. Louis while they were here.
So again, what happened in St. Louis is people just changed their behavior. Now, perhaps you could say people who would not otherwise have come into St. Louis for a game did so. But the cost to the public associated with subsidizing a stadium means that those benefits were wiped out by the cost. And for example, if you come home at the end of the shift and your spouse has a new car in the driveway, you don't just think to yourself, oh my gosh, free car, this is great. One of your first questions might be, what did you pay for this? Is it worth the investment? We never seem to ask that question when it comes to ballparks. And the research is very clear from left, right, and center. The investment is not worth the return. I know romantically we love to cheer for that team, but we've got to understand it is only romantic and not economic.
He's going to make Fred Bird sad there. We're visiting with Patrick Tuohey from the Show Me Institute. All right, Patrick, you just got a minute or so left here. What is it, at least in the early discussions, that the lawmakers are hinting at or outright asking for? I mean, what is it they want the state to subsidize and do, so we know what we're looking at as far as how to at least talk about it and try to push back?
Yeah. So again, those are great questions. We don't exactly know. I think the state of Missouri nets around $60 million from having the Truman Sports Complex, the two teams there a year. The city makes, I want to say, around 12. The county funded it through a sales tax. I think the county would love to have the state and the city chip in more so that the burden falls less on the county. But again, we haven't seen term sheets. We get all these hints of a conversation, but we don't have the actual conversation.
Yeah, so we know they're going to ask for something. And then what happens is other cities, the lawmakers say, well, if you want us to pay for that, then here's something that I want in my district. You know, Busch Stadium needs improvements. We want something subsidized. We want a new stadium for a football team. We want, you know, Springfield with John Q. Hammond stuff. So what happens is you get this side of kind of cycle of big spending around the state when all the deal making is made. At least that's how I remember it happening the last time, about 12 years ago, Patrick, something like that.
Yeah, well, it's not just where you put the stadium, it's where you put the practice field, it's where you invest other money, it's the other businesses that a team might own, the hotels, the bars that they want to benefit. It really, at the end of the day, is just a program to make wealthy people even wealthier. And again, I applaud them for being successful, but it shouldn't be on the backs of taxpayers.
All right, and we find the blog post where, Patrick?
You can find us at showmeinstitute.org. I've written a lot about a stadium and stadium subsidies over the years, and it's right there on the first page.
Good talking to you, Patrick. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Patrick. Hey, it's my pleasure. Take care.
All right, a lot of ground to cover here. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Agree
I think conservatives have it wrong.
or disagree.
I couldn't agree with you more.
The conversation happens here.
I agree with you on Trump. I'm shaking my head. I'm one of your liberal Democratic listeners, and I don't get why any of this even matters.
Because your voice matters.
Everybody told him he couldn't do it, and then he did do it. That's what you got to do. You got to play hardball.
I want to hear what people think and be able to talk about it.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
We were there when our nation called us to serve. We were there to write the original GI Bill and get it signed into law. When a community found itself in the middle of a natural disaster. When tragedy struck at a local school. For veterans who suffered from toxic exposure and needed a voice on Capitol Hill. And we're still serving as part of the American Legion. For more than 100 years, veterans have been strengthening our nation through the American Legion. Through programs that help our nation's youth become tomorrow's leaders, by keeping the spirit of our forefathers alive and well, and by helping veterans receive the benefits they earned through their service. The American Legion will be there for the next 100 years. Learn more about how we're helping in your community at legion.org.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every week yet on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Still, we're going to have to look at this story. I'm just looking at something on Fox Business.
Mm-hmm.
First ever artificial intelligence real estate agent brings in $100 million in sales in Portugal.
Whoa, that's interesting.
Maybe that's the next question. What is AI going to replace? Which jobs is it going to replace?
Boy.
Wow. I think we need to look that up. That's interesting. All right, it is 5:50.
So does AI get the commission?
Yeah, who gets the commission? That's right. Whoever programmed the AI there, man. By the way, Rumble is misbehaving.
It is this morning for some odd
For some
reason.
reason.
It happens every once in a while.
Dan Bongino decides to leave, and then apparently Rumble falls apart.
Or he took it with him.
Yeah, really. No, we're still on everything else though, right?
Yes.
Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all that. So just switch on over there. Hopefully Rumble will be back up here in just a little bit, but we are still streaming. Just Rumble is being a little weird right now. All right, it is 5:51 right now. All right, President Trump runs into more obstacles in the courtroom. Well, courtrooms, plural. 3 different ones. By the way, Flashback Friday coming up. It's Wednesday, so I'm going to start reminding you about that. Start loading Stell up with your 80s bump music request. I think a couple of them came in yesterday.
We got a few in.
Yeah. So go ahead and send those in. Don't forget, no particular theme this week. Just be creative. Be curious to see what's happening here. Okay, at 7:35, we're going to talk to Mike O'Neill from the Landmark Legal Foundation. He's kind of our go-to, expert on the courts and politics on this. But within literally like 90 minutes, 3 different courts ruled against Donald Trump and basically Doge, essentially here. So these are all federal cases here. In one case, the judge extended a ban on the Trump administration freezing federal spending on grants, loans, and other financial aid. So basically, when the Trump administration said these things are wasteful, these things are bloated, these things are whatever, we're going to lock down and we're not going to send out any more of those payments. A judge says, no, you have to spend the money. And so this ruling kind of reiterates that and says, no, you have to spend the money. The judge in this case, Judge Lauren Ali Khan, which is the U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C., is quoted in the ruling saying, in the simplest terms, the freeze was ill-conceived from the beginning. I'm not sure that's the court's role to decide whether something's a good or bad idea, just whether or not the president has the power to do that. And so also in another case, by the way, that was Doge saying, hey, that's wasteful. Stop spending that money. That was part of that right there. Washington State, not Washington, D.C., a federal judge there ruled against and put a block on an executive order by Donald Trump that had paused the nation's refugee admission program. The judge in this case, Jamal Whitehead, said, and I'm quoting, the president has substantial discretion to suspend refugee admissions, but that authority is not limitless. Really? Okay. And then another case, this one also in D.C., Judge Amir Ali ordered the Trump administration to release foreign aid funds. So we're looking at, I don't know if this is directly the USAID, but some foreign aid that had sort of been kind of impounded, if you will. And the Trump administration saying we're not going to waste that sort of money. In case you're saying, who appointed all these judges? All 3 of them were appointed by Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? Obviously, there's going to be appeals on this case because the cases in these right here, what it looks like, again, we're going to talk to Mike O'Neill about this right around 7:35. It's not that you can debate whether or not stopping the spending or cutting it off or whatever Doge is doing is good or bad. Okay, that's fine. I think everybody in this room thinks it's good. But what you've got here is whether or not the president has the authority to run the executive branch. And so that's what these rulings are all about. And that's what they're going to be appealed. So the thing is that it could take months or a year or more to get to the U.S. Supreme Court. So unless there's a higher court, an appeals court that overturns these rulings, some of the spending may be ordered resumed, even if it's really stupid stuff.
I think we're going to see more and more roadblocks over the next year or so. I'm thinking Mark Elias is sitting somewhere in an office with a big list of every district that he wants to look at for putting a lawsuit on the Trump administration. So I'm not surprised that these are going to start showing up, and it's going to be kind of a bumpy road here for the next few months.
Yep, without a doubt. Without a doubt. All right. I mean, and the courts rightfully are supposed to have, the checks and balances system are on that, but it's just going to come down to, is this activist where they're like, hey, we don't like what you're doing, we're going to stop it. That's not how that works. But if Congress makes a law and it's signed into law, and then the president doesn't follow the law, that's what the courts are for. But that doesn't look like that's what's happening here. So, I mean, the checks and balances are there for a reason. We'll just see whether or not the courts are overstepping their bounds on this. Okay. 'Tis the season again. There's a proposal to cut federal funding for state TV and radio, public broadcasting. Congresswoman Claudia Tenney was on Kudlow on Fox Business. Yes, last night, actually, guest host was David Asman, saying that the PBS and NPR networks are what she calls purveyors of advocacy, not accuracy.
The DEI director at the PBS stations makes over $400,000 a year in a government job. All right, we don't need a DEI director, nor do we need to have our government money go to pay for what has now become propaganda for the left. And that's what these stations, unfortunately, have become. All right, that's Congresswoman Claudia Tenney once again. And so her bill would just cut out any federal funding for NPR and PBS, excuse me, which just makes sense. I mean, it's funny because conservatives have been calling to end funding for PBS and NPR for decades. And it's funny because I've got a couple friends who have worked or work in the public broadcasting. They know what I think of the federal funding of it, but every time that something like this is proposed, they trumpet it because it generates more donations for them.
It does, more fundraising.
Oh, it's fundraising gold for them.
Yeah, look out, we may not be here.
Yes, we don't need you, but I don't care that they're there. I just don't think taxpayers should be paying for it. Listen, I'll compete against NPR. I'll keep beating them. I'm not worried about that. News Talk will keep beating them. I'm not worried about that, but we shouldn't be paying for it with our tax dollars. It's really that simple.
I want you to know that McGuire Moving and Storage is silver certified, which means McGuire has a quality reputation helping older adults move local or long distance. And something else to know, Josh McGuire, president of McGuire Moving and Storage, is the only certified moving consultant in Missouri. I'll tell you, once you met Josh, you're going to know your move will be easy. And I fully endorse McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuireMoving.com.
Jeffco Patriot Radio. Every week, get the stories and insider analysis of what is really happening in Jefferson County.
We are basically kind of doing a little Tim Jones radio here with a focus on Jefferson County. My co-host, Billy Crow.
We're really excited to show the people of the region everything that Jefferson County has to offer.
Jeffco Patriot Radio. If it's a big story in Jefferson County, you'll hear about it on Jeffco Patriot Radio. Sundays at noon on News Talk STL.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
800-797-0711. 800-797-0711. 800-797-0711. That's 800-797-0711.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Ed Thomason. That big, beautiful bill, as President Trump calls it, has passed the House. The massive budget blueprint, it includes trillions in tax relief and spending cuts. House Speaker Mike Johnson says it's something to celebrate, although it has a long way to go before being finalized.
We got it done. We had the requisite number of votes to move this process along, and
now passing the budget resolution in the House that will go to the Senate. This is the first important step in opening up the reconciliation process. We have a lot of hard work ahead of us, but we are going to deliver the America First agenda. We're going to deliver all of it, not just parts of it. And this is the first step in that process.
$4.5 trillion in tax breaks, $2 trillion worth of spending cuts in the bill, passing on a vote of 217 to 215. All Democrats voted no, along with one Republican, Thomas Massie. With Florida Governor Ron DeSantis unable to seek re-election because of term limits, Republican Congressman Byron Donalds announcing that he is running for governor of Florida. Ukrainian President Zelensky expected in Washington on Friday to sign a rare earth minerals deal with the U.S. President Trump says could be $1 trillion deal said to benefit both countries. The White House Correspondents Association will no longer determine the makeup of the White House press pool.
The White House says moving forward, it will select the small group of news outlets allowed to travel with and cover the president's daily activities, something that in the past was left to the White House Correspondents Association. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the goal is to give new or alternative media companies greater access. In her words, it's beyond time the White House press pool reflects the media habits of the American people in 2025. Bob Agnew reporting.
On Wall Street, stock futures higher this morning. The Dow futures are up 143 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 155. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Let me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Healthcare is complicated. It doesn't have to be. If you don't love how your health insurance works, maybe it's time to leave traditional health insurance behind. Take charge of your healthcare with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM offers you flexibility. Enroll anytime, choose your own provider, and select the program that fits your needs and budget. CHM is the original faith-based way of taking care of your medical bill costs. Learn more at chministries.org.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. A few sprinkles are possible this morning and into the afternoon. Accumulation so minor, I don't expect that you'll be using the windshield wipers much. And if you leave the rain gear at home, that's okay too. Mostly cloudy skies this afternoon, a high of 64 degrees. A weak front is pushing in. This would put our overnight temperatures back into the 30s tonight and keep us slightly lower for our temperatures on Thursday. We warm up Friday and then cool down for the weekend. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Ironbound. It makes my clothes and home smell, and my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great-tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Love your couch but hate sinking into it? Custom Foam has your solution. We specialize in replacing your cushion foam with firmer options, firmer than anything you'll find in furniture stores, and a fraction of the cost of new furniture. Need extra firm support or soft cushioning for your back pillows? We have options you can test in person. From couches to window seats, dining chairs to custom projects. We'll have your furniture feeling like new in just a few days. We even offer same-day service. Visit custom-foam.com. That's custom-foam.com. The Allman Report.
Hey, Wednesday on the Allman Report, the great Jim Teller with his insights about what's happening. This is the Allman Report, News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
That's somebody, probably my
Might be
autoplay.
you.
That's autoplay somewhere. I hate autoplay.
Autoplay is the worst thing ever.
Yep, it's autoplay. Yeah, stupid autoplay.
We all hate it.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, normally what I'm doing by now is I'm chatting with people on Rumble chat box.
Yeah,
that ain't
true.
happening just yet. Hopefully it will in just a little bit. So if you're at home going, wait a minute, where's the Rumble community, News Talk community? Well, just run over to YouTube and look at Mike Ferguson in the morning there, or just Facebook or Twitter. Rumble's being weird.
Yeah, and it's just Rumble that's being weird,
Yeah.
so it's not us.
No, definitely not. All right, some things going on here. It looks like there's going to be another showdown between the Trump administration and the Pritzker administration. I'll tell you about that here in a
more
second.
than that. Okay.
Yep. And when will the Epstein buyer client list be released?
Mm-hmm. Do we have news on that?
No,
Sort of.
You know,
Pseudo news.
Not a lot, but
Okay.
pseudo news here. And the Blues, man, they had a night at Enterprise last night to wrap up their homestand. It is 6:06 right now. Let's go and dump some news on you.
The morning news dump. Are you joking? Is this a joke? Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
All right, House Republicans pushed their, well, it's not really, the news copy says budget resolution. It's not really a budget.
Yeah.
The spending plan, and they got it with a 217 to 215 vote.
Oh,
meaning
wow.
They lost a couple of Republicans. Like, for
Mhm.
instance, Thomas Massey voted against it because of what it adds to the deficit and the debt.
Okay.
For instance, on that. So there were a couple of Republicans that were like, too much debt.
Could have done better, basically.
Right, exactly. And so normally this is where, because it's a conservative station, I'll go find a Republican soundbite who's joyously, trumpeting the victory for
Mhm.
Republicans. I thought it would be fun to go get a Democrat whining and stomping his feet about it instead.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, so here's a House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, going off on Republicans.
Every single member of the House of Representatives was able to vote both on the Republican side and the Democratic side, and now every single member is on record. House Democrats on the side of the American people, and House Republicans on the side of their billionaire puppet masters and donors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Billionaire puppet masters and donors who want to cut spending.
Right.
Because that makes sense.
So running the country farther and faster into debt is standing with the American people.
Yeah, that's his contention, apparently.
And this is essentially the, what Donald Trump calls the one big beautiful bill. Essentially, this is what it was. So this is working off of the Senate's bill to move the one bill as opposed to multiple bills through.
Right.
Okay, public schools in Illinois are going to continue to push LGBT indoctrination despite the threat from the Trump administration to cut off funding for schools if they do that. State Education Superintendent Tony Sanders recently sent a message to public schools instructing them to keep teaching LGBT, Black, and Asian history and to continue to promote LGBT ideology in order to, and this is his words, affirm, uplift, and support all our students and their families.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what that agenda is all about, I'm sure.
Right, exactly. So, we'll see what happens here because the Trump administration's made it very clear that they want to cut federal funding for any of this sort of DEI stuff and indoctrination stuff. So the Pritzker administration throwing down the gauntlet. We'll see what happens next.
All right. I think this is very much another see you in court moment.
Right.
So
yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, the Trump administration is not backing down on this.
No, I don't think so. So it's going to be a matter of will they cut off funding for public education in Illinois? I don't know. Let's see if he does it or not. All right. Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican out of Tennessee, is asking the new FBI Director Kash Patel to release more information about Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking network. Here's the story.
Epstein died in prison in 2019, and the criminal charges against him and the investigation were dropped as a result. That left a lot of unanswered questions amid speculation about who all may have been involved with Epstein. Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling on the new FBI director, Kash Patel, to release all information the Bureau has about the sex ring. The new transparency is something Blackburn says Patel promised to provide during his recent Senate confirmation hearings. Bob Hagner reporting.
And of course, Attorney General Pam Bondi has said that the list is on her desk. She said that, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that?
Yeah, she said on her desk for review.
Okay, so which means it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling they are going to release it.
Oh, yeah. She, along with the statement that it's on her desk, she said, and it's this White House's priority to release it.
So you wonder what's taking so long. If it's already on the desk, why not just release it?
Right.
Couple different options, I'm thinking. One, we're kind of in the middle of the awards show season for the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if the Trump administration wants to drop this like the day before or the day of one of these big awards things.
Speaking of one of the big award things, I think GLAAD is having their award ceremony tomorrow.
Okay.
So just an FYI.
There you go.
There's a possibility there.
Yeah. By the way, do not be surprised if some of your favorite entertainers are on that list.
Absolutely.
And do not be surprised if there are some Republicans on that list as well. So I am going to be fascinated to see, who's on that list to see what happens there. But when we get it, I don't know. And if somebody starts suing to block the release of it, ask why.
Yeah, once the lawyers come out, then it's up.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of the people who know that they are on the list are trying to get themselves to a country that doesn't have extradition treaty with the U.S.
Yeah, because there's one or two of the big names that I know that have left the country as well, but I don't know if that's related here.
Sure.
We just got a bunch of rumors on the internet at this point.
Well, I mean, Polanski's been on the run forever, so they're probably looking at villas near his.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Precisely. All right. Federal law enforcement officials are searching for leakers within their departments after the ice raid in Aurora, Colorado turned up empty, and they found out that there was a leak and a poster with personal information of ICE agents popped up around Southern California. When I say personal information, pictures, names,
phone
address.
numbers,
Yeah. Everything was on there. Border czar Tom Homan was on Hannity last night on Fox saying he's working with the DOJ and he wants to put whoever leaked all that information behind bars.
I hope the Department of Justice agrees with me so we find out who's doing it. Hopefully we can prosecute them and put them in jail.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says that she has found agents who have leaked information, and she says she found that through polygraph tests as well. All right, well, we had an announcement yesterday for you regarding very, very popular conservative figure, Vivek Ramaswamy, making it official. He's running for governor of Ohio.
He's doing the thing.
Yeah, well, he's not the only one doing the thing, though.
Oh, yeah?
So
we got more?
Yep, got another one for you. Florida Congressman Byron Donalds was on Hannity last night as well on Fox and made the announcement that he is not running for re-election. He is running for governor of Florida.
I have a long history in the conservative movement, and I have one of the strongest conservative records, both in the State House and up here in Congress, that proves that I will not let you down, that all of the victories and the successes that Florida has been able to accomplish, we're only going to take that and build upon it. We're going to continue to be the freest state.
Okay, so Donald Trump has already endorsed Byron Donalds, and we don't even know who else is going to be in the race.
Well, now that he's in the race, there may not be another. I mean,
I don't know. DeSantis is not as much of a fan. I can tell you personally, I kind of hate to see this. I was really hoping to see Byron Donalds work his way towards being speaker someday.
Yeah,
I
my initial thought when you brought this up, he's like, hey, Byron Donalds running for mayor. I was like, oh, dang it,
no,
Byron, you have a path. You have a path to speaker
or to the U.S. Senate. I mean, I just kind of like this.
Byron Donalds could have been speaker for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man, you could be third in line to the president for the rest of your life.
He's already shown he's got the muster to withstand the Washington, arrows and darts, and you don't question. I'm just like, I don't want to lose somebody like that out of Washington.
It feels like a step down, even though technically it's a step up.
Technically, it's a step up.
Yeah. Right. Being the executive of a state is much bigger deal than being
one of the biggest states in the country.
Right. Yeah. And one of the most successful you run conservative states. So I can see in the immediate, but man, I was hoping for him as speaker.
Wouldn't it be interesting if DeSantis's wife decides to get into it? Because there's rumors floating around Florida that she might be interested in running.
Oh, I hadn't
really.
Heard that. I had not heard that.
Oh gosh, yeah, that would make for a weird internecine fight there on the right.
I like Ron DeSantis. my gut reaction is I wouldn't be wild about that. That sounds like dynasty stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's my initial
Yeah.
thought whenever I hear somebody's wife or cousin or uncle or something like
Yeah.
that wants to jump. I tend not to like.
We've
that
had
stuff.
that in this
Yeah.
country.
Yeah,
I'm not super wild about, and I don't know. It's Casey DeSantis, right?
I think
Casey,
so.
yeah.
I don't know much about her other than she used to be a news anchor.
Yeah.
She was a television, broadcaster, and my understanding is she does the first lady thing pretty well. I don't know. But no, I had not heard that. That's actually new to me.
Ron terms out next year, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Yes.
That's why
Yep.
it's
he can't run again.
because it would be a mistake for Byron to try to primary. I mean,
Oh,
you know
no,
what
no,
I mean?
no,
It's like
no.
so that was the only thing
You
I
got-
was like the only thing that makes sense is if Ron is termed out.
Yeah, which is the case.
Mhm.
I mean, he's easily the most successful governor
Oh yeah,
in the country. Right.
and one of the most popular in his state.
without a
Right?
doubt.
Everybody loves him.
Without a doubt. All right. The Cardinals ended up with a 3-2 loss to the Blue Jays in spring training on Tuesday. Victor Scott II had a third inning home run. Today's game is against the Yankees. Starts at 12:05. It does not look like there is any TV coverage for the Cardinals side. The Yankees are broadcasting it on their network. And the Blues laid the smackdown on the Kraken last night at Enterprise.
Boom.
I mean, smackdown.
Mm-hmm.
Final score last night was 7-2.
Ouch.
Here's the interesting thing. Each and every one of those 7 goals was scored by a different Blues player.
No way.
Yeah. 7 different Blues had goals last night.
Man, talking about spreading the love.
Yeah, Jordan Bennington had 25 saves on the night. And this concludes a long homestand, and the Blues play in Washington on Thursday. If you look at their homestand before the Four Nations tournament, they've literally had a 3.5 week homestand.
Oh, wow.
So the guys didn't have to pack and repack and leave their apartments for a month.
Oh, they love that.
For pro athletes, they would
that's
love something like
big
that.
deal, yeah.
All right.
Even get a chance to take the kids to school.
Yeah, really.
You want to give me more information? You want to take the place of what I trust?
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
Impressions, well, baby, they will last forever. Stop right now! I have had enough of this.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You're gonna blow us all away.
It's time to raise a little hell. The Ozark Mountain Daredevils. This Saturday night at the Family Arena. With special guests, Molly Hatchet and the Georgia Satellites. This is the farewell tour of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
And keep your hands to yourself.
Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Clint Black in concert. Clint Black, an incredible night featuring some of his greatest hits. Saturday, April 12th, 7 p.m., the Family Arena. Clint Black in concert. Special guests Ruby Lee and Emily Ann Roberts. On sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Clint Black.
Seavers JCB, a trusted leader in agriculture and construction. Connect with SeaversJCB.com and browse their inventory or stop by and let them show you the capabilities of the JCB lineup. Telebooms, skid steers, loaders, forklifts, excavators, backhoes, and more. JCB has pushed diesel to its limits with machines that now emit 50% less CO2. JCB's new Icon software system will blow your mind, offering iConfigure, iConnect, and iControl. Learn more at SeaversJCB.com.
Hi, this is Missouri Lieutenant Governor David Wassinger. I wanted to invite you to the annual Missouri State Lincoln Days occurring on March 7th through the 9th. I plan on being there to celebrate President Trump's huge victory, and we swept the state with statewide elected officials. I also hope to be there. You can register at mogop.org. It's mogop.org. Look forward to seeing you on March 7th through the 9th in St. Louis. Let's make Missouri great again.
Learn more and get tickets at mogop.org.
Paid for by the Missouri Republican Party. Jennifer Finch, Treasurer.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
This is a great build-in for a song here.
Firewoman from
Right, by the Colts, yeah. I love this song. This is a good album. Okay, so if you're under 40, there were things called albums back in the day.
And this album came out in '89.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my senior year of high school, actually. Yep.
You know what's funny is I've seen, I've got one of those Best Buy accounts where you kind of build up rewards and things like that. And then back in the day, I used to use them to fill out my Blu-ray DVD collection. Then they stopped selling Blu-rays,
right?
And they started selling LPs. Yeah, LPs are now trendy enough that they actually have a little section
Wow.
where they sell LPs, and I'm just like, but I still have a Blu-ray player. Like, what are you guys doing?
I actually skipped over the Blu-ray entirely.
Did you?
I never had a Blu-ray.
Never had a Blu-ray.
I went from like VHS to DVD to just digital.
Digital. You just sticking with the digital.
Yeah.
I'm still a believer in solid media in
physical
media.
Yeah,
Right.
actually, the more I think about that, the more I think you're right for a variety of reasons.
Well, one of the things that got me was there was every once in a while, if you have your account or something like that, and you save things to your account on your streaming service, and every once in a while, one of the things I have saved disappears because it's no longer available on the service.
Oh, right. So if you're
Right.
on like I don't know, Hulu or whatever, Netflix or whatever,
Yeah.
because they only have something for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, they pay for rights for a period
Right.
of time, right? So then once it's gone from that service and you don't have a physical copy, so that's the thing. I don't. If you only are digital, you own no media. The company decides what media you have available.
Well, and then you've also at one point, it may have been a while, you pointed out that they're editing.
Yeah.
Kind of going back and woke editing some of the classics.
Disney was kind of pioneering that. Yeah. So
okay, I want to get to this thing here about the Taste of St. Louis because it's moving out of the city. But along those lines,
Taste of St. Louis is moving
Yeah,
out
it's
of
moving
St. Louis.
the city. Yeah. But remember years and years and years ago when the Southern Baptist Convention decided that they were going to announce an official boycott of Disney?
Oh,
that would have been
I vaguely remember that. Yeah,
early, gosh, would that have been early 2000s or something like that?
I think so. It was really early in the social fight,
right?
The societal
and
fight.
when Disney was starting, when we were starting to have the curtain pulled back at the weirdos that are there, and I was talking to a friend of mine at the time. He's actually passed on since then. He's younger than me, but he died a few years ago. He was a assistant pastor to Southern Baptist Church. Went on to serve in the Missouri legislature, believe it or not. But because they were announcing a boycott effective of whatever date, and he had like 3 or 4 little kids.
Oh,
the day before the boycott went into effect, he went to the store and bought like 8 of them. And then he told me, I'm like, dude, that kind of
defeats the purpose.
You're defeating the purpose here. He's
Yeah.
like, well, I got these kids. I'm like, way to stick by your convictions.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's like the boycotts coming up that the left are doing over the next month or so. I think there's one coming up on Saturday.
Oh, is
I'll
it?
have to look at the list. There's 4 different ones, and the most recent one that's coming up is boycotting Amazon and Walmart and some of the others. But underneath in small print, it says, make sure you get your stuff a day in advance.
Yeah, it's like it's a 24-hour boycott.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Which means nothing.
Which means that I actually might get my stuff earlier.
There you go.
Is this over all the DEIs?
Yes.
Like the companies that are
Yeah.
saying, okay, we're done with
They're getting
DEI
rid of the
stuff.
DEIs.
Oh,
Mhm.
I see. So basically the left is like butt hurt, but they don't know what to do about it.
Yes.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Another festival is leaving the city.
Mm.
Yeah. By the way, newstalkstl.com, our kind of clearinghouse for everything. You can listen to us streaming on there because unfortunately Rumble right now is down. It is on Rumble's end. I believe it's not on our end. We're still streaming on Facebook. We're still streaming at Mike Ferguson in the Morning on YouTube, on X, wherever else we're streaming, but Rumble's being a little finicky. today. So hopefully we'll have that up soon. So my apologies, but it looks like that's on Rumble's end. Okay. So one of the articles that I read about this, the organizers of the Taste of St. Louis, they want to leave the city. They are leaving the city. Now they've done this before, and came back, but they're leaving the city. They say it's got nothing to do with safety, got nothing to do with crime.
Okay. All right.
Anybody believe that?
No,
I don't believe that at all. So remember, because a while back they went to Chesterfield for like 4 years.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned it,
Right.
okay. Yeah.
And then they
did do
came
this
back
before.
in 2019 to the city. Last year, as I recall, they were at Ballpark Village. That's where the festival happened. But it looks like this year it's going to happen in Clayton. And they're looking at basically shutting down, some of the streets for the Taste of St. Louis festival. And then when the money they raise from that will go to reimburse the city for the cost of shutting everything down and security and all that. And then the money that comes in after that will go to a variety of charitable organizations here. So the final details are still being worked out, but basically, according to multiple reports, there's a verbal agreement in place between the organizers of the Taste of St. Louis and the city of Clayton. And this isn't the first festival, because the big art festival now went to Clayton.
Oh yeah,
as well.
yeah, that's right.
So yeah, this is a reflection on the problems in the city.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Without a doubt.
Whatever protestations they're making, it's like, no, it isn't really that. It's about something. No, we know what the deal actually is, because here's the thing. Now that you say you're going to be in Clayton, I might go. That's how I know.
Yeah.
That's how I know what the real reason is.
And for them not to say it's safety, I saw a Channel 5 story, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that a place called Wave Taco, which was popular downtown. I think they've been there for maybe 12 or 13 years. Close to Convention Plaza, maybe around 14th Street. They're closing.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
And they gave the reason of safety.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, when they say, I mean, I think that's a matter of, we're saying this has nothing to do with crime and safety. That's because they know there are reporters and cameras around.
Yes.
And microphones. But does anybody actually believe that?
No. Well, and the other question I have is, why still try to protect the city government from that consequence? Like, why are they trying to protect maybe their relationship with city officials, so they don't want to throw them under the bus?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and there's kind of a code of the road. Stop kicking the puppy while it's down.
Right. Yeah. I got it.
But there's a reason the puppy's down.
Yeah. Seriously.
There really is. Now here's the other aspect of this. It also shows that within the region, there is a huge amount of competition among the cities here in the metro for these things. Because the Taste of St. Louis is going to bring in revenue.
Yes.
I mean, period.
Yes. That draws folks from all over, and there are people who go to these city-based food festivals, like they travel to them.
Oh yeah,
right. And especially the cities that are known for their food. St. Louis is one of those cities that is known for its food on some level.
Yes.
I know there's Taste
and
of
rightfully so.
Rightfully so, by the way. There's like Taste of Chicago, there's a Taste of New York. I remember going to once. There are lots of those, and there are people who travel across the country to go to those things. So whatever city gets those, they get that little bit of
diabetes tourism.
The diabetes tourism, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, but there's a lot of competition because with Chesterfield, I'm sure Chesterfield would have loved to have had something like that out in West County. To me, Clayton makes a lot of sense just because of its central location in the metro.
Yeah.
But Clayton is making a play to be the economic and frankly cultural center of the metro area.
Oh, sure.
I think they may be competing with St. Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're trying their hardest, and they're doing pretty good, by the way. Clayton's a nice area to be in. You always feel safe in Clayton.
Yep.
And you always feel like there's something to do.
Yep. I got a good friend of mine who just retired from Clayton Police Department. I think he put in 25 years, and then he retired. I played baseball with him, and he's like, good place to work. But he's things are getting so crazy. He's like, I'm done. He goes, you can't do anything now without somebody, wanting to attack the police on something. So he's like, I got my 25 in. I'm young enough to go and, have fun in life. And that's what he's doing. But Taste of St. Louis, not actually in St. Louis City.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, but it's funny what I thought
Chicago
the
and
same.
Peoria.
See, Gabe, I thought the same thing that you did.
Yeah.
I thought like, oh, well, I might go now.
Yeah. That's the immediate thought.
I'm not going downtown.
I'm not going downtown for this.
I'm
No.
not doing that. Yeah. All right. Let's see here.
You know, I think there were rumors a little bit that Taste of Chicago wanted to go to Schaumburg or something.
Oh, no kidding.
And that got knocked down quickly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's usually on Navy Pier, isn't it?
It is downtown.
Yeah.
Like around Grant Park, Navy Pier.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the neat thing is businesses like Lou Malnati's and Garrett Popcorn and others that are known for certain products, they're tied in with Taste of Chicago, and then you can order their stuff online and have it delivered out of town. Like I've ordered Lou Malnati's.
Oh, that's cool.
Pizzas, and that's pretty cool.
What was that other pizza place you were telling me about that?
Giordano's.
Giordano's. Yeah,
Yes.
I did drive. I actually didn't stop. But I didn't. I got to try that. I haven't had pizza in like forever.
Yeah,
but if I'm going to get it, let's get a real pizza.
Yeah. Yes. Well, hey, if you're going to have a cheat day, cheat.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
That's how I feel about
Because
it.
I've been eating real healthy lately, but I got thinking because I drove by that Giordano's
when you were up there?
When I was up there last time. So I'm like, I need to get in there. You know?
Mhm.
Instead, I went to a sports bar and watched the Battlehawks game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, did that too. All right, just ahead. It almost happened again. Let's talk aviation. Did you see this game? Near miss.
Oh, another one, huh?
Caught on video.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it happened. And it's, how does this happen? So let's bring back the question. How confident are you in flying commercial right now? What the heck is going on?
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. A few sprinkles are possible this morning and into the afternoon. Accumulation so minor, I don't expect that you'll be using the windshield wipers much. And if you leave the rain gear at home, that's okay too. Mostly cloudy skies this afternoon, a high of 64 degrees. A weak front is pushing in. This would put our overnight temperatures back into the 30s tonight and keep us slightly lower for our temperatures on Thursday. We warm up Friday and then cool down for the weekend. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the Capistrami. You've got hot pastrami, melty Swiss cheese, crunchy coleslaw, and zesty Russian dressing. What else do you need? I love Capriati's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
What happens next?
My fellow citizens, the golden age of America begins right now.
Happens right here.
We will not forget our country. We will not forget our Constitution.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic and Ken. We're on 9 to 11 every Monday through Friday on News Talk STL. Kenny, how are you?
I'm good.
You know, you got to be some kind of weirdo to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And
You
do radio.
do, believe me.
And that weirdo is Mike Ferguson in the morning show on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh.
All right. What in the world is happening with our aviation?
Yeah.
Tapping into your expertise here, Gabe, here in a minute. There was another near catastrophe at an airport yesterday. So here's the question I've got out there. Are you rethinking how safe it, because we just talked about this, what, a week or 2 weeks ago?
Yep, we did.
Because we've had, multiple situations, and we had another one. This one's on video. I don't know if you've seen the video yet or not.
I haven't seen the video yet.
Oh,
no.
boy, yeah. All right, still ahead here. He's trying for the political upset of the decade. St. Louis mayoral candidate Andrew Jones going to be with us at 7:05. Remember, voting is underway right now.
Yeah.
And the primary is actually officially next week, but voting is happening right now. Okay, so didn't we just talk about this kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
At least there was no disaster this time.
Right.
So this happened in Chicago yesterday. Did you see the video of this still?
I did not.
Oh, my goodness. So a Southwest Airlines flight coming in for a landing.
Oh, was that at Midway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, at Midway.
Okay.
And then taxiing perpendicular to it, right in front of it, was a private jet.
Oh, my.
On the ground, just going. And so the Southwest pilots saw it, and they got back up, and they had to go circle back around and come in for another landing. Here's actually some of the conversation that happened from the air traffic control of the incident itself.
Southwest 2504 going around. 2504, roger that, maintain 3000. Sorry, Southwest 2504, how'd that happen?
How'd that happen?
Yeah, it's a big question.
Yeah.
How'd that happen? You would be surprised to know this happens a lot more often than you think.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm worried about.
Well, and the increase started a while back, but it's actually been a problem. It happens. You're getting a close call or near miss approximately one time a day.
Somewhere in the country.
Somewhere in the country.
Whew.
Yeah. So I think it's now getting a little more the media attention that I think it deserves. But even back in like 2023, they were kind of just coming to the realization of how prolific these sorts of problems are. I've been saying this for as we've been discussing aviation and things like that our air traffic control system is outdated and has been in need of update, and also understaffed, by the way, for at least a decade, if not two. Actually, no, we were talking about this in the 90s. Now, come to think of it, I think there were early predictions about, based on projected retirements and things like that we were going to start with the lack of personnel, but then also the outdatedness of the systems became very apparent as the computer revolution, the software revolution, was overtaking the rest of the country in the commercial space, in the media, or I should say the personal computing space, but it wasn't affecting the FAA system for some reason. They were stuck in maybe the late 70s, early 80s in terms of computing power and capability. So yeah, we've been dealing with, it's just been brewing underneath because we had so many bigger fish to fry.
How is it possible that we don't get the upgrades at the pace we need? Because I got to tell you, knowing that there's like a near miss every day, or there's something, it makes me less interested in flying.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
I used to fly all the time. Part of this is I just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part is I'm thinking, we had the collision in Washington, D.C. that killed, however many people it killed. And then we had the plane flip in Toronto from Minneapolis to Toronto on that.
That was pilot, though, I think.
Pilot error. Yeah, on that one. And so this one here, when you see the video, I mean, it's just crazy. How does this happen?
Yeah. Well, the failures of the system become, they start stacking as the system ages. And of course, as you have fewer people to actually monitor these things. So it would be nice if the lack of confidence that is starting to build, I think, in people for the system spurs to action those who are in charge.
Is the lack of confidence fair? I
Yes.
mean, is it? It is. So
Yes.
it's like when I say, I'm not really, one.
You're not jazzed about it.
I'm not jazzed about it. To be fair, and I'm not afraid to fly. I've flown hundreds of times. I'm not worried about that. But it's kind of a hassle. I don't enjoy it. It's just transactional. It's functional. But now I'm rethinking. I'm like, is it as safe as it used to be?
Well, just think back. We've been talking about the lack of safety in the city for a while, right? Well, think back to when you used to be okay with going to the city.
Right.
But then there are certain incidents that started shaking your confidence and you started pulling back a little bit. It's like, maybe I won't go to that game because it's, and then
or at least not at night.
And then it became a hard rule.
Yeah.
If it's at night, I'm not going.
That's right.
Right. And then eventually it was like, why do I need to bother going into the city? Now, air travel is a different story because people need to get places, and going at 300 miles an hour in the air is much faster than going at 60 miles an hour on the highways. So people are still going to fly. But yeah, I think the people who are on the fence about it, the people who are, it's starting to encroach now. And I think once that starts having a commercial effect, once that starts having a more larger societal effect, because people are paying attention to it, or at least, they're aware of it now, that's, I think, going to create the change that
what's blocking the upgrades? What's blocking the improvements in the systems? And is it just, you said system is part of it, and then staffing is another part of it?
Yeah.
If we have better systems, will we end up keeping more people in the staffing? Because my understanding is air traffic controllers, this is like red line, high stress from the minute you walk in till the minute you go home.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those, it always kind of topped the list of jobs most likely to have someone commit suicide in.
Wow.
That was actually one of the things I remember hearing. That it's like air traffic controller is such a stressful job that it usually tops that particular list. So you've had bad administration. Basically, you've had bad decisions being made in terms of hiring, because even back in the 90s, they were doing some of this DEI bull crap, by the way. And I know personally a number of individuals who were like, yeah, I went through the training, but they basically turned me away, and they said it to my face that it's because I'm a white guy. You know what I mean? So that happened. Those guys are no longer in the pool of possible hires, even though they were trained. Because they had to do something else.
They knew he was a white guy before he walked in the door, right?
Oh yeah, of course. They knew the certifications of all these other individuals. But so you've had that reduction. People realizing, first of all, that it's a high stress job, and then of course the DEI nonsense, and that's been going on for almost 30 years at this point. And then you have the software things. That's just straight up laziness. That's we don't want to, we may have to shut down certain aspects of the system, and that would cause stresses here. And we just don't want to they just don't want the hassle of an upgrade.
Yeah, because at any given point, tens of thousands of flights are in the air.
Yes.
So if you shut something down, it is going to create a problem somewhere, but we're talking for hours or maybe a day or something like that.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah. We're talking, depending on how the system is designed.
Right.
Now maybe this would have been a weeks long, okay, you have to pull out the wires and bring in the new servers kind of thing back in, the early 2000s or something like that. It may have been a more involved process back then, but our computing capability is so good these days. It's entirely possible you could basically turn the switch off on that system and turn the switch on that system and just keep going.
But even if you said, okay, so we're going to overnight shut down, and we need to reduce our flight load down to this level.
Yeah, all the red eye
we
flights
can upgrade this.
Yeah, the red eye flights are canceled for this night.
Right.
Would
that have an effect? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it would have an effect.
Some of those companies are going to lose a lot of money on that day.
Yeah, but if you upgrade it to improve the safety, maybe there are fewer people like me who are going, if I had the choice, nah.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine that this all involves a bit of coordination also between the airlines themselves and the federal governments, right? So it's entirely possible that the airlines were lobbying the federal government not to change their systems because they knew it would cost them too much money, or what they regarded as too much money for one night of shutdown, or however many nights of shutdown.
When we get into this information segment, you ought to look up that video.
Oh yeah. I
mean, it's simple, but you see it, and it was just broad daylight right there. And this little private jet just simply walks right out. It's almost like, the dog wanders out in the street in front of the car.
Yeah. And the car is the one that has to swerve.
The car has to swerve. And that's basically what happened. You have a vertical swerve that happened with this airline. So, all right. A lot of news to get you caught up on here in just a couple of minutes. And also Andrew Jones, running for mayor of St. Louis, can be with us at 7:05. Still working on Rumble. We're not back up on there. Are we yet still?
Sorry, not yet.
Okay.
Not on my microphone either.
That's a Rumble thing, but we are streaming on all the other platforms.
Yes, we're okay on the other ones.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
From Soho down to Brighton, I must have played them all. Fly ain't seen nothing like him in any amusement hall. That cat don't like it. Sure plays a mean pinball.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
And then the media.
1019 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore to tell you about Michael's Flooring. Michael's is known for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. Installing new flooring should be exciting, not a hassle you dread. Michael's has solved that, and their long list of happy repeat customers is proof. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, ceramic tile, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring, with 3 locations, St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
This is the actual precedent set why Bernie Sanders cannot have a 32-hour work week.
The Department of Labor wishes to report that the workers of Fredonia are demanding shorter hours.
Very well, we'll give them shorter hours. We'll start by cutting their lunch hour to 20 minutes.
Where's Fredonia?
Oh, it's right.
Oh, here we go.
It's on the southern part of Gooberstan. Yeah. And of course, Rufus T. Firefly was the leader of Fredonia.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio 3 times every week yet on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
All right, we got another showdown between Donald Trump and J.B. Pritzker in the works.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you about that here in a second.
I want to see that throwdown in the cage.
Who do you think has the worst diet, Donald Trump or J.B. Pritzker?
Well,
I mean, Donald Trump is an aficionado of McDonald's.
Yes.
So that's pretty bad.
Yes.
J.B. Pritzker will eat anything that's pretty much unable to get away from him.
Don eats terribly. But he's relatively healthy versus his diet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's not
overcome the diet.
He's somehow like his metabolism helps him overcome his diet on some level. Not totally, obviously. He's not exactly a skinny guy. But JB Pritzker's he's still like 1.5 times a Donald Trump.
Yeah.
In girth.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Right. So
jeez.
I'm still gonna pick Pritzker on that one.
All right. And when will the Epstein buyer/client list be released?
Mm-hmm.
New requests and demands on that.
Show us the list. List.
And the Blues went nuts at Enterprise last night at 6:49. Let's dump some news on you here.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right, the one big beautiful bill concept gets past the U.S. House of Representatives. House Republicans pushed their spending plan. Well, they got their win last night, 217 to 215.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very, very close. There's no tie-breaking
barely.
vote, by the way. They lose one more, and it fails. So they got that passed on Tuesday. Normally, I go get a conservative, I go get a Republican. I get the speaker, and I get a soundbite, and they're like, "This is good for America." This
right.
is, I actually figured I'd go ahead and grab a Democrat who's stomping his feet and angry about it. So here's Congressman Hakeem Jeffries.
Every single member of the House of Representatives was able to vote both on the Republican side and the Democratic side. And now every single member is on record. House Democrats on the side of the American people, and House Republicans on the side of their billionaire puppet masters and donors.
Okay, so the biggest motivation and pressure, I think, at this point on this is this will extend, assuming that they work out the details with the Senate, because there's always a few things they have to have the exact same bill to pass. But the Republicans are feeling massive pressure to lock in and preserve those Trump tax cuts.
Absolutely, and they better, because my goodness, if something were to happen to them and everybody's taxes, goes back to the pre tax cut regime, and that's the thing, the tables would change, so your take home changes immediately.
Right.
Woo! No, that's not gonna work for us.
I will not accept. But the Democrats did it.
No, gosh, no.
They Republicans do not get a pass on this whatsoever. They either make this happen or they feel the brunt of the punishment of the people and the voters.
Now, who were the ones who voted against? By the way, the Republicans that voted against.
I don't know I know that Thomas Massey voted against
was
it,
one of them,
but he said this adds to the deficit and the debt.
Right. His contention was it doesn't go far enough into the Republican priorities.
Right.
Now. I think those kind of votes are negotiated beforehand. It's kind of like,
They
okay,
might be, yeah.
we can lose this many before we lose it all.
Yeah.
So if you want to be the protest vote, here's what, you know what I mean.
Some of that happens.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's got to happen.
Yeah. All right. Public schools in Illinois are going to continue to push LGBT indoctrination, despite the threat from the Trump administration to cut off funding for schools if they do that. State Education Superintendent Tony Sanders recently sent a message to public schools in the state instructing them to keep teaching LGBT, Black, and Asian history and to continue to promote LGBT ideology in order to, and these are his words, affirm, uplift, and support all our students and their families. I don't know if everybody was realizing there actually is a state law that requires public schools to teach pro-lesbian, gay, so-called transgender curriculum in schools. There's actually a state law
in
that
Illinois
requires that in Illinois.
Wow. Okay. So in order to comply with the EO, they'd actually have to take legislative action.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They could, which is never going to happen in Illinois. So we'll see whether or not the Trump administration is going to follow through and cut off funding for education. And then they'll end up in court where obviously the federal judges in Illinois are going to side with the Pritzker administration.
Yeah, I'm pretty dang sure the Trump administration is going to cut off the funding. I would be very surprised if they didn't follow through with that threat.
Yeah, let's see. And if he does, it's on. We'll see what happens here. And then whenever the judge says, no, you must continue funding, send the checks. What happens if the Trump administration says, or what?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Or
yeah,
what?
It's very much a see you in court time, I think.
Yep. All right. Senator Marsha Blackburn is asking the new FBI director, Kash Patel, to release more information about Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking network.
Epstein died in prison in 2019, and the criminal charges against him and the investigation were dropped as a result. That left a lot of unanswered questions amid speculation about who all may have been involved with Epstein. Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling on the new FBI director, Kash Patel, to release all information the Bureau has about the sex ring. The new transparency is something Blackburn says Patel promised to provide during his recent Senate confirmation hearings. Bob Hager reporting.
And so we're going to figure out who's going to take lead on that. Is that going to be Kash Patel at the FBI? Is that going to be Pam Bondi as the Attorney General?
Right.
Pam Bondi says the list is on her desk.
Yeah.
And at some point they're going to release it. I don't know why they're waiting.
I would hope that they're waiting for the perfect timing relative to the award season for Hollywood, because I imagine there are a lot of Hollywood folks on there.
Boy, if this is dropped at the right time and a lot of names are on there, boy, would you see some empty seats?
I would love it. I would love it. And by the way, I think the GLAAD awards, movie awards or whatever, are tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So if
gays and lesbians, something, defamation or something like that.
Something like that. Yes. Glad is the Rainbow Mafia's official face. So I would love to see a release maybe tonight. Just so all day as they're getting ready, they're getting primed for the award show, they can think about the list.
and by the way, do not be surprised if some of your favorite entertainers are on that list.
That's another thing too. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors now floating around, even about like Tom Hanks and things like that. Some of the quote unquote darlings of Hollywood and
accusations, but nobody has had anything to back it up. Just accusations,
right? People just kind of throwing out names just because. Look, if the name of a beloved actor shows up there, it is what it is, guys.
They did it. They did it.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if there's a few Republicans on that list.
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
Yes, indeed. And you mentioned actors. Guess what's coming up on Sunday? This Sunday, March 2nd.
What's that?
The Oscars.
Oh, the Oscars are this Sunday.
I bet you this gets dumped in the next few days.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's got to be.
Oh,
it's gotta.
That's going to happen. I've tuned out of Hollywood so much. I did not know the Oscars were coming up this week.
Nor did I, but I looked it up.
I would not be surprised if this gets dropped like Friday, Saturday, something like that.
Look. Donald Trump has become the king of petty recently.
Oh yeah. And
Hollywood's rejection of him after embracing him so much, back in the day, I think that still stings. I hope he seems like, no, release it on Saturday just before the Oscars.
Right before it.
Yeah, screw those guys.
Oh, man. All right. Well, while speaking to the press on Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt announced a change in who's deciding which members of the press are invited to cover White House events, saying the decision will no longer be up to the White House Correspondents Association.
I am proud to announce that we are going to give the power back to the people who read your papers, who watch your television shows, and who listen to your radio stations. Moving forward, the White House press pool will be determined by the White House press team.
Okay, this is punishing the liberal press outlets that are giving him bad coverage.
Yes.
I mean, let's call it what it is.
Oh, sure.
This isn't democratizing anything. This is, we don't like the way you cover this White House. You're banned to the back of the room.
Although it's certainly a defensible position to say, instead of letting the press corps decide who the press is, we're going to decide who the press is.
Yep. All right. The Blues whooped up on the Kraken last night. Holy cow. Final score last night was 7-2, with every one of those 7 goals being scored by a different Blues player. Jordan Bennington, it really is. Jordan Bennington had 25 saves on the night. And this concludes a very long homestand. The Blues play in Washington on Thursday.
Bengal's restaurant offers an inviting atmosphere, neighborly service, and a vibrant happy hour scene, all in the heart of Warson Woods. From their kitchen to your plates, beloved comfort favorites like chicken parmesan and lasagna to steakhouse-style classics. Slide up to the vintage bar or hit the patio for happy hour specials every Tuesday through Friday. Bengal's Restaurant and Bar, 10017 Manchester Road. Check out the menu and reserve a table online at bengalsrestaurant.com.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
David Stokes, Director of Municipal Policy at the Showme Institute.
We should rely on property taxes more because people hate property taxes. Because people dislike property taxes, they think long and hard before passing new property taxes. On the Showme Institute Twitter page, a number of people have told me how stupid I am.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. Amit Thomason. It was a real squeaker of a vote, but the House has passed a massive budget bill that advances President Trump's priorities. House Speaker Mike Johnson says Republicans are committed to delivering the entire America First agenda.
A lot of work yet to be done, but we're going to celebrate tonight, and we'll roll up our sleeves and get right back at it in the morning.
The bill includes $4.5 trillion in tax relief, couple of trillion in spending cuts as well. It's far from a done deal, though. It must go through the committee process and then be reconciled with Senate legislation. Republican Thomas Massey joined every Democrat voting against the bill. The U.S. will be able to mine Ukraine's vast store of rare earth minerals through a profit-sharing deal worked out between the two countries.
It effectively secures long-term U.S. involvement with Ukraine. We don't know whether, and this is the crucial thing, we don't know whether it includes explicit security guarantees for Ukraine. It's certainly a commitment for economic collaboration.
The BBC's Peter Bowes says Ukrainian President Zelensky expected in Washington on Friday to seal the deal. Byron Donalds announces he's running for governor of Florida.
Donalds is a Republican congressman from Naples in southwest Florida. He made the announcement after receiving a critical endorsement from President Donald Trump. That could clear out any possible primary challengers he would have faced. If Donalds wins, he would become the state's first black governor. DeSantis is ineligible to seek another term after 8 years in office due to term limits. Donalds has been a frequent Trump surrogate and was on the short list to be his vice presidential running mate last year. Ernie Bennett reporting.
Doge chief Elon Musk will be on hand today as President Trump holds the first cabinet meeting of his second term. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures pointing to a higher open. The Dow futures up 91 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 125. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. A few sprinkles are possible this morning and into the afternoon. Accumulation so minor, I don't expect that you'll be using the windshield wipers much. And if you leave the rain gear at home, that's okay too. Mostly cloudy skies this afternoon, a high of 64 degrees. A weak front is pushing in. This would put our overnight temperatures back into the 30s tonight and keep us slightly lower for our temperatures on Thursday. We warm up Friday and then cool down for the weekend. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Nate Lucas here for the Village Bar in the heart of Des Peres. Since 1948, the Village Bar has been the go-to destination for delicious food, cold drinks, and unbeatable atmosphere. Savor their famous wings, burgers, and onion rings, or grab a drink from their fully stocked bar. Catch all the big games and enjoy the company of their friendly staff. Plus, don't miss the 1879 Distillery, a one-of-a-kind experience right next door. The Village Bar offers the best value in town. Find the Village Bar on Facebook and come experience where history meets great times. You'll be glad you did.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Congratulations to the awesome team at Connor Roofing for earning the 2024 National Best of the Best Award for Customer Satisfaction. Connor Roofing has now won back-to-back honors because they do outstanding work in all types of roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. We chose Connor Roofing without telling the owners, Rob and Kathy Connor. Their customer reviews are some of the best in the country. Please read them. Visit ConnorRoofing.com and request an estimate. Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, could we see the political upset of the decade in St. Louis next week?
Mm-hmm.
But I say next week, but the voting's actually underway now.
Yeah. There are votes now tallied,
happening right now.
Yes.
Yep. All right, just still ahead here. Who's going to be replaced by AI next when it comes to your job? Interesting news story that we found this morning, showing one of the categories that could be affected. We're going to talk about that right around 7:20. So be thinking, which jobs do you think have people in them now that we won't need people in them later?
Yikes.
Yeah, a little bit scary there. It is 7:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. Now joined by Andrew Jones, running for mayor of St. Louis. And first, let me remind everybody, Andrew, voting's actually underway now. I mean, early voting is happening at the libraries and the election board as well. The actual primary date is Tuesday, but people are voting now. So if somebody wants to get out and get their vote in, they can do it right now.
Absolutely, they can. And by the way, good morning, and thank you for having me on.
All right, let's talk about the big stuff here. Massive dissatisfaction with what's happening in St. Louis, without question. Tashara Jones's administration in big trouble for obvious reasons. And we talk a lot about, Andrew, the ideology and the left-wing stuff and all this sort of thing. But we're really talking about basic services that are just not getting delivered. So if there's an Andrew Jones administration, and we'll talk about the steps that we go through on the election at this point, but if there's an Andrew Jones administration, how do we get back to the basics and just have the things like trash and road clearing and 911 responses and all? How do we get those things back to where they should be, even on a most basic level?
Well, and again, you said the key word is basic. If you're looking at trash pickup, you're looking at cleaning up when it comes to any of those particular issues and those particular challenges. You take care of business and you focus on those businesses and you become experts in that particular area and you conduct yourself with aplomb and you get things done. And I believe that everything is done by leadership. And as we said before, a fish rots from the head down, and this falls on the shoulders of myself and making sure that people are dedicated to their jobs and committed to their jobs, and me by demonstrating so, and that will get things done, and there won't be any gaps in services.
Good morning, Andrew. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So this morning we were talking about the taste of St. Louis, moving out of the city of St. Louis and moving into Clayton. Now they've done this before. They've had other places for their venue, and they say it's not because of safety. But the thing is, my reaction to hearing that they're no longer going to be in the city is that, hey, maybe I'll go now. How do you address those sorts of issues? The fact that there are so many people, businesses, events that are fleeing the city because of safety issues.
And safety is absolutely the critical number one issue. And crime. We know that probably 2%, 1% of those are doing those violent crimes, and we can certainly get rid of those types of issues under my administration. The police know exactly who they are. But again, this gets back down to a very simple tone that the leadership is not allowing them to do simple arrests. Now, the other three in the race, they talk around police. I'm the only one that consistently talks about police because this is where you get those things done. And when I sit there and at the forums and we talk about it, most people, most of the people, the forums are loaded with people who support those guys. But I sit there and I talk about these things. You can see heads nodding because they recognize that crime is the issue, and we have to do something about it, but I'm the only one that's talking about it.
Okay, so Andrew, what's the right balance between leading from the mayoral's position when it comes to improving police service and letting the police be the police? What's the mayor's role? If you're elected, what's your role in getting that police protection back to where it should be? Because we got to take care of the men and women in blue, but you've also mentioned that there are policies coming from City Hall that are saying don't deal with certain types of crime or frankly certain types of criminal suspects on this. So what's the right role if you're leading?
Well, what you have to do is allow police to be police. It's very simple. You allow the police to be police, and me as the leader and having leadership responsibility, it all falls on me to ensure that the police chief executes and gets things done. I follow through. I answer those tough questions if police get out of control, and we certainly will hold them accountable. I know people, it's mighty funny that when I say high-performing police, people get upset behind me saying high performing. I have to explain that away, that I certainly expect high performing police, and our police will perform at a high level if given a chance. But I'm certainly going to support our police when they do things right, and I am going to get on them when they do things wrong. We hold people accountable, and that's how you get things done. And someone has to be able to stand tall and true to be able to hold them accountable. But our men and women in blue, they certainly want to be able to express themselves, do what's necessary, and they want to be able to execute their job. And if they end up doing something like having to have shooting or things of that nature, they don't want to be abandoned. If it happens, and if it's a good shooting, we want to be able to support our police, and we don't want to fall behind and say that, oh, woe is me, the police did something wrong. No, if they did something right, we're going to support them, and we're going to stand behind them, and that's going to be what is needed to get things done.
Now, even if you are so fortunate as to move into the mayor's office and take control of the executive in the city, the legislature, the board of aldermen, is still going to have pretty wide control, a wide amount of power, and they're very likely not going to be on your side about almost anything. How do you plan on actually bridging the gap and working with them to improve the city?
Well, if you can remember, I just recently retired, and I've headed up just about every department at our company except for operations. I know how to build consensus. I know how to talk to people, even when we have disparate positions on things. There's a certain way that you go about building trust with people and getting them to understand that this thing is necessarily required in order to execute. And we will have monthly meetings. We will have open meetings because I'm used to that. And we will expose those types of things, and we will expose those alderpersons who don't want to support the police. And generally, the police are under the control of the mayor, and the alderpersons don't have too much to say about it. They can write and they can say what they want to say, but I am in control of the police. But we certainly want to get buy-in from them. And again, if they don't want to express and don't want to support us, there's a bully pulpit where we'll sit there and meet once a month and expose people who don't want to support our regime in trying to get things done and to make it an excellent city.
We are visiting with Andrew Jones, a candidate for mayor in St. Louis. Big proposal, $670 some odd million to redo not just the Millennium Hotel. They're looking at knocking that down, but they want to do another big development there in the downtown area. What I haven't heard is who's actually going to be paying for the $670 million when it comes to redeveloping parts of the city, particularly downtown. What's the guidepost that you would have as mayor to obviously encourage redevelopment, but at the same time do it in a way that's not just laden with corporate welfare?
Well, one thing that we want to make sure that we are involved in, and something that I talked about in 2016-17, is that we have to have a comprehensive economic development plan. And within a comprehensive economic plan, you also have your SWOT analysis, your SOAR analysis. You do everything within those four corners of that particular plan to plan out what's going in, how it's going to happen, whether or not we provide tips, things of that nature. We have a comprehensive plan. So when something like the Millennium building is, and we certainly know that something's going to happen there, it happened organically. It wasn't something that was planned, and now they're being involved in it. And this is what they do all the time. They come in and secondarily and get involved with these projects. We're saying that we're going to be in front, and we will be able to get things done and have a well planned out architectural type of thing for the Millennium downtown. And we'll do everything else associated with downtown or associated with a plan that gets the buy-in from all people that are involved and live in constituencies within the city of St. Louis so that we can resurrect this doggone city. It's very easy. St. Louis has all the ways. It has the airways, the waterways, it has the highways, the railways. We have all the ways to get things done to promote this city because the city is centrally located. Everyone wants to come here. They don't trust the crime in the city and they don't trust the administration. I'm saying with my Rolodex and my long history in business that people trust me. Even I believe that Kehoe, and I'm jumping around here real quick, that Kehoe and with the state wanted to take over the police in the city of St. Louis. They may want to submit that they may give us an opportunity to continue on this if we could turn this thing around. But if they want to take over the city of St. Louis because we're in dire straits, I believe that the state of Missouri will come back in, and we've had a 10-year usage of us being in control, and we're not paying our bills. We're not doing all of those things necessary to make us a grade A city. And I would embrace that type of philosophy because I still will be a part of a 5-person board and running it. I'll have steadily input in it, but we have to do something critical in order to take care of this critical problem. So we'll build downtown up with a comprehensive plan.
Okay, so just last minute or so we've got, let's talk about the logistics. The voting's happening right now, and St. Louis has a weird way of voting in municipal elections called approval voting. So people can vote for as many candidates as they want. Obviously, you're asking them to vote for you, Andrew Jones, on this, but people can vote early. They can vote now. This is expected to be a low voter turnout election, which is typical of municipal ones. So every vote counts, probably more so than they do. But right now, it looks like Tashara Jones is in a lot of trouble. So what happens here? So after Tuesday, we're looking at the top 2 vote getters moving on to the general election in April, right?
Yes, that's exactly how it goes. I'm not a fan of this system, but I participate. I think it was probably put in to probably stymie me being able to be successful in the mayor's race. But again, I'm hoping people will take into consideration AndrewJonesForMayor.com to get me involved, to get me so I can make it to that second round. And I'm submitting that if I make it to the second round, oh boy, I believe people need to watch out, and we will do things at a very high level. And that light that you see at the end of the tunnel will be a light of change and prosperity, not a light of a train coming to mow us down. But we have a great opportunity this particular time. And unfortunately, people don't believe in voting at this particular point in time. They're not energetic about going out to vote. But I believe that bodes well for us, and we want to take every advantage that we can.
So if you want to overturn the apple cart, really cause some chaos, this is the way to do it.
I believe things are falling in place, and we'll see. I know that I'm fighting an uphill battle, but I believe I have a strong base here in the city of St. Louis, and I believe people are fed up and frustrated, and it gives us an opportunity. So people, if you really want to see change in the city of St. Louis, and we're talking about the metropolitan statistical area, please call people that you know that live in the city of St. Louis, get them to come out to vote, and because it's about votes now more than anything else, and get them to come out to vote for Andrew Jones. I believe I am the person that can get the job done to change our city around.
All right, and you can vote early before Tuesday at any of the public libraries and at the election board as well. All right, Andrew, good luck to you. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you guys for giving me an opportunity.
All right.
Appreciate you.
31.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, you got it. 314-912-1019. If Andrew were to make it into the general election,
into the next round.
Shock waves throughout the city.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It would absolutely be a major shock to the system
because nobody expects him to do that.
No,
but that would be absolute shockwaves. All right, just ahead here, 314-912-1019. All right, do you have one of those jobs that AI may come get and
Maybe
replace you? Interesting story I found.
Sometimes
on Fox
I feel like
Business.
I do.
Oh man, yeah. I've got found an interesting story on Fox Business a little bit earlier about AI taking over a very personal like relationship-based job. Interesting. I'll tell you about that right on 722.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What are you waiting for? Get up,
The Vic Porcelli Show.
One of our favorite listeners, Sandra D, is going to join us Wednesday at 9:05 addressing the use of glyphosate on crops. Wednesday at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Iron foul. It makes my clothes and home smell, and my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great-tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Speaker Tim Jones, whoosh my speaker.
Why did the men and women who sacrificed and died for this country get one day each year, and those who have to tell us what their sexuality is get an entire month?
So instead of MAGA, they can be MAFA. Make America fabulous again.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-pressure colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, which jobs are next to be replaced by AI?
It's a growing list.
And here's the thing is I'm not one of those who thinks that AI taking over jobs is entirely a bad thing.
Sure.
We've had this happen in our history over and over and over and over and over again. So it's just the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, any mechanization that we've had over any period of time has, at least at the time that it was implemented, felt like, oh no, people are being replaced by machines.
Right.
And there was usually a panic. There's like, oh my gosh, there are going to be no jobs left for anybody who fits XYZ, demographic. But we've managed to adjust. Our society adjusts to these things. So I think AI is just another round of that. But I think for the people experiencing it, it's always kind of a surprise. There's always a little bit of a shock to the system. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't expect that,
exactly,
to be one of the areas where this machine would work.
Yeah, precisely. All right, by the way, President Trump and Doge run into more roadblocks in courtrooms. So what's next? We're going to get the update from our friends at Landmark Legal 735 because some of this, I mean, I know a lot of people are calling it lawfare. To some of it is.
Yeah.
Some of it is. Others is just,
standard.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's more effective than what a lot of people are realizing. So we'll get the update on that. Okay, I saw this morning on Fox Business, an artificial intelligence real estate service. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was launched recently in Portugal, and it's already done $100 million in sales of real estate sales.
Wild.
From an AI agent. And you're thinking, wait a minute. I mean, if I'm going to go buy a house, or I'm going to go, I really want to be working with a person.
Right.
I want to be working with Rodney and Jen.
Right.
And now there's somebody who goes, well, you're just typing in the thing and, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And, and you could, okay. Yeah, you could do that. But I'm a little surprised. I'm not surprised that there's a role for AI in this. $100 million.
That's a lot.
Is a lot.
That's a lot. Now, I'm curious as to what sort of real estate we're talking about, though, also, because, there's residential real estate was what we always kind of go to in our brains.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like, okay, there's a person there walking me through the house and showing me the features of the house.
Mhm.
How is AI going to do that? They don't yet have robotic bodies.
Right.
But I think there's also this aspect of commercial and industrial real estate that we may not a lot of those dollars may be wrapped up in that.
And by the way, this is in 1 year,
which
$100
is
million.
well, yes, but it has a different character to it, though.
Yeah,
commercial.
These are residential.
It is residential.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Wow. Okay, well then that's wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you do that.
Well,
except you just give up the personal touch. I mean, those
Right.
people decided that they don't need to be walked through the house.
Right. And they have
Virtual
the
tours or whatever.
virtual tour and all
Yeah.
that kind of, because there were virtual tours that were happening during all the lockdowns.
Oh yes,
and everything as well.
That was always a thing. Yeah.
But that's one of those where if I'm looking at something, I want somebody there to go, give me the story on this.
Mhm.
What's happening?
Yeah.
here? Okay, tell me about and so
I want to be able to touch some of the stuff in the house.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And some things don't show up on video.
Right, precisely. And so that's what's doing. But what you were saying earlier, I think deserves a little more deep dive, because at all these different stages of our history, some new technology happened.
Yes,
and
disruptive.
And somebody lost their job. Because a machine came in or a better tool came in. Excuse me. And so this is like the ultimate disruptor with AI, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing.
Right. Yeah.
It is bad for somebody initially.
Yes.
But overall,
societally, we adjust. And you got to remember our system is kind of based on the idea of divided labor, or what's the term? Division of labor, right? Where we kind of specialize in the various areas,
right?
And if certain areas don't, when they get flooded with people, those of us with various skills and talents, we have to go somewhere else and do something else. Well, that means the same level of personal productivity that an individual brings will now be focused in an area that needs it, rather than the area that no longer does.
Yeah, the people who are like campaigning for, we've got to stop technology so that we can pay people to keep doing this instead of machines, you're wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, just economically, you're
societally
wrong.
Yeah.
Societally, you're wrong on this, and here's why: because you're artificially keeping the cost of the products way too high, which means that fewer people get to participate in the economy. And when I say disrupting, that means that other opportunities open up.
Right.
So why would you want to trap somebody in one thing because you want to feel better about that guy, as opposed to saying, let's let the disruption happen so that we can create far more opportunities? But does that mean a lot of people are going to have to adjust? Absolutely. If you're in one of those jobs that's going to get replaced by AI, you better start sharpening your skills. I mean, that's just the market.
Yeah. Looking at some other things. And now that isn't to say we shouldn't, as a society, be looking to have a softer transition from one sort of industry to the other. I think, we don't want to completely ignore the plight of individuals who are affected by these things. And I think there is some value to making a softer transition rather than having the revolutionary apple cart overturned, and all of a sudden you have thousands of people who are just immediately out of work with no other skills to go on, and they've been in their job for 30 years, and you want me to retrain to do computers now? It's like, I'm not going to learn to code. At 60.
Go get a green energy job.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, that isn't to say that, we want to poo-poo the efforts to do that.
Yeah.
But you don't want to stop the progress, because, look, console TVs, the gigantic things that's at the big cabinetry, those used to be hand assembled.
That's right.
Right. And they cost the equivalent of $30,000 to have one. right? Now, there's a machine somewhere in Taiwan assembling these things out of various chips. It weighs 15 pounds, it can hang on your wall like a picture, and they cost $300 at Costco, right? So we all get to participate now in the TV industry, and those who you used to assemble those are doing something else, right? So we can't look at these things as killers, as economic killers, because they're not. They're exactly the opposite.
Displacers,
yes, maybe
rearrangers,
disruptors, yes,
yeah. And I say that like AI is taking some radio jobs.
Oh yeah,
and,
that's true.
And television jobs.
That's true.
I will tell you right now, we use AI at News Talk STL.
Yep.
Why? Because we are a small, locally owned, entrepreneurial business, and if we didn't, we wouldn't be saving money, or we wouldn't be using the tools that we have. And that's one of the reasons we can have so much local programming here, is because we use tools like that. So you can lean into it, and own it and benefit from it, or you can complain about it
and fight
it, and you're going to lose.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Now, Ice Gray online asks if Carvana is the same thing. I've never dealt with
purchasing a car using basically an online agent. Yeah,
I mean, you're buying it online.
Yeah,
and I think they deliver it. They can deliver it to you. But there's always there's gonna be somebody delivering it to you. Have you ever seen one of they literally have like car vending machines? In some places.
I've seen those.
I've seen one. There's one in Kansas City. I've seen that. So I would say kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, because you buy the thing online, just like if I go on, Amazon or Barnes and Noble or whatever, and buy something, I'm still buying it. That's automated. That's AI.
Yeah.
I mean, but somebody's got to ship it to you. Somebody's got to put it in the box.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, Amazon itself has been moving towards AI usage forever, and robots, in working in their warehouses and distribution centers and all that stuff. So you're currently participating in the transformation of an industry.
But it is also opening up opportunities. For instance, my daughter set up an Amazon business.
Oh yeah.
And, she's using their AI tools and shipping stuff, and people are buying stuff from her, and all she has to do is take it to the, mailboxes place or whatever it is. And so she's relying on those tools, but it's actually opening up opportunities that she's got trying to build a side business while she works at a regular job.
Thousands of businesses.
Yeah, they're doing that.
You mentioned the radio industry, and I think this might be the one you're referring to, the station in Oregon.
Yep.
Where they actually have an on-air personality that's AI. And I think the weird thing for us is hearing that individual interact with callers.
That's right.
That was weird.
In real time.
In real time, yeah.
In real time. Yeah. I mean, you could never do that, obviously, with a talk show.
No.
Or could you?
Oh, no.
Maybe we're AI.
Oh.
Maybe we're robots. You'll never know. AI is really good now.
That's true.
All right. Let's talk about Donald Trump took 3 losses in court yesterday. What's next? Is this the final decision? Probably not. But we'll get the update on that around 7:36.
Oh, and you know what? Larry Connors.
Yes.
Is coming up with a commentary that's a warning for Democrats seeking revenge in 2026.
Oh, okay.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. A few sprinkles are possible this morning and into the afternoon. Accumulation so minor, I don't expect that you'll be using the windshield wipers much. And if you leave the rain gear at home, that's okay too. Mostly cloudy skies this afternoon, a high of 64 degrees. A weak front is pushing in. This would put our overnight temperatures back into the 30s tonight and keep us slightly lower for our temperatures on Thursday. We warm up Friday and then cool down for the weekend. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Hey, if you're 50 or older, you do not want to take any risk with your money. In fact, you want Leslie Consulting. My friend Bob Leslie can show you a gain and retain plan. Means that you never lose. Plus, you get up to a 20% bonus on day one. Leslie Consulting, a leader in brokerage and risk management. 314-721-0066. LeslieConsulting.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit vincentsjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Democrat strategists are excited about the 2026 election. Yes, they're optimistic, believing so many will be turned off by Trump that they will rebel. Now, Trump will not be on the ballot, but all Republicans in the House will be up for re-election. 22 Republican seats in play for 2026. There's a group called Run for Something. It's a Democrat tactic to get control of Congress and eventually the White House. Some 20,000 have joined. Democrats expect even more as the Trump-Musk-Doge team fire or cut jobs. But there are a couple of things maybe they should remember. First of all, a warning from Bill Maher. He's warning Democrats, you will lose every election going forward if you're going to force the government between parents and their children on transgender issues. He said, you will not win if that's your platform. Oh, and another thing they might want to remember, because they are, after all, really looking to not just get control, but get revenge. American pastor Douglas Horton maybe said it best. While seeking revenge, dig 2 graves, one for yourself.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Transform your space with JML Interior Design in Clayton. For 32 years, local woman business owner Jeannie Lashmet has been creating stunning interiors that reflect your vision. From residential to commercial, kitchens to corporate spaces, JML Interior Design brings expertise to every project. Planning a home remodel, tackling new construction, or the expert commercial interior space planning service. Jeannie and her team deliver great designs that work. Call 314-453-4233 or visit jmlinteriors.net. JML Interior Design. We just don't dream it, we do it.
I can tell you how to get a free quick quiz to see how artificial intelligence can boost your company's potential. You go to priglobal.ai, priglobal.ai. St. Louis Business Magazine listing PRI as one of the leading IT companies, and PRI has its own AI lab to develop what your business needs. priglobal.ai, priglobal.ai.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
You talk about race relations.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
101.9 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Aaron Dorr. Check out my show, Shall Not Be Infringed, Sunday nights at 9. But now it's more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, you can call it lawfare. You can call it just part of the process. You can call it checks and balances, whatever you want to call it. President Trump runs into another roadblock, well, really 3 roadblocks in the courts. So what's next? And also, there are multiple challenges in other aspects of the Trump/Doge efforts that are happening. We're going to bring you update to that on here in just a moment. Flashback Friday coming up this week. So get your request in. Just be creative. I don't have any theme this week or anything like that. So send those in to Stell or put them up on social media. And we are back on Rumble, looks like.
Yes, as of now,
so
we are back up.
All right. So you can get those in there. Looks like that was a problem on Rumble's end. But whether it's Facebook or X or Rumble, so send those in or just send them to Stell. It is 7:39 right now, joined by Mike O'Neill from Landmark Legal Foundation. Mike, first of all, good chat with you again. Let me ask you about these 3 rulings this week happened within like an hour or 2 hours of each other in 3 different courtrooms, essentially saying that the Trump administration cannot stop spending. The Trump administration wanted to stop spending money on certain things.
Right.
foreign aid and some other things.
Right.
And the courts have basically ruled you must keep doing that. That's going to confuse a lot of people. Is this a matter of the decision was ruled or believed to be illegal, or that the way that the president's doing it upset the court? I mean, what's the rationale that you can see as far as these patterns in his 3 different courts?
Yeah, first of all, the rationale is you have an orchestrated. Let's just step back and set the stage. You have a macro effort here of you have hundreds of lawyers in incredibly well-funded groups, NGOs, powerful non-government organizations, powerful nonprofits, a lot of law firms that are aligned with these groups. You have states, you have blue states, so you have a very powerful coalition that is aligned to virtually challenge every single executive action the president is taking. And so they understand these are smart lawyers that understand that they can find judges that are more likely to be sympathetic to their particular arguments. And this is, of course, the arguments that the overall argument here is to identify waste, fraud, and abuse and cut this profligate spending that the federal government is engaging in. And so you have disruptors, and then in the form of Donald Trump, who was elected on this, he ran on this platform. He said, I'm going to come in, he brought up Elon Musk at every single opportunity in his presidential campaign, in the latter part of his presidential campaign. So the American people know what he was tasked him to make this choice, to take this difficult job. This is incredibly difficult job as one of his initial, as part of his platform. And he's doing that. He's doing just that. And so what you have again is you have certain judges who are looking at these complaints that are filed and are issuing temporary or preliminary. You have your temporary restraining orders, TROs. You have your preliminary injunctions. These are the initial kind of salvos in this battle. And so what happens is when you break down each one of these cases, you'll see whether there is justification. And there's certain cases where the president's authority is stronger, and then there's certain cases where he might have to have a little bit of cover from Congress. Congress might have to take some action. So let's talk about some of these cases. For example, when you're talking about for example, changing DEI things, removing DEI sections off the websites. That's a managerial decision. That's clearly within the president's prerogative to do that. He's going to be able to do that. And any efforts to challenge that are going to be thrown out of court pretty quickly. Efforts to cut spending. Now that comes down into an actual. You actually have to kind of look at the text of the appropriations statute, the appropriation that was designated by Congress. So what will happen is Congress can sometimes. We all know how Congress allocates money. They pass these bills and they appropriate funds for X, Y, and Z project for something. So if the language of the bill of the law says the president conveys discretionary authority to the president, says, okay, President Trump or the president or the EPA, for example, has $5 billion to spend in its discretion how it wants to see fit to clean the air, something general where there's some sort of arguable language in there, then the president's going to have a lot stronger case in front of these judges. If there is a mandatory spending, for example, again, the one I always throw out, and this isn't one specifically in the case, but it's easy to conceptualize. The Department of Justice is directed to purchase 5 Virginia-class submarines at $5 billion, for example. Okay, well, that's a specific directive. Then the president's power is going to be a little more questionable there to actually have to say, okay, I'm going to impound them. I'm going to exercise my presidential prerogative, my presidential authority, not to spend those funds. That's a question. That's called impoundment. So when we're talking about the president not spending funds that are designated via Congress to spend those funds. You have to look at the law. You have to look at the text of the appropriation. Then you also have to ask yourself, the larger question is whether the president has the power to impound those funds. And that is an open question. The Supreme Court hasn't ruled on that. I'm going to make a proclamation or a prediction here that I think sooner rather than later, this issue is going to be coming in front of the Supreme Court. But I do think that the president, I'm not 100%. I want to see Congress take some action here to give the president some cover, because when you have these specific directives to spend money from Congress, the courts are most likely are not going to be particularly amenable to that unless they buy off on the argument that the president has this impoundment authority. He has the executive discretionary authority not to spend the funds. And again, those are on those cases where you have the specific allocation of money. If there's discretionary authority, he's on stronger legal grounds.
Good morning, Mike. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So just for my own purposes, it sounds kind of like the difference between may and shall language usage in various things. So you may spend $100 million or you shall spend $100 million. And I think the law carries different application for those things. At least that's kind of how it works in contract language in engineering. When we're dealing with other things, like you may do this or you shall do this, those are really, really different concepts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you put your head on when I was talking. You nailed it when you're talking about discretionary language. And again, it's funny because nerds like me will delve into the language of the actual appropriation, and this is where the rubber meets the roads when you're trying to get in front of a judge and make the argument that, hey, the president has the authority to do this. But what's an important point to make here is a couple of important points to make. Number one is that there's a poll that just came out that the political winds have shifted. I think you have the overwhelming majority of the American people who are on board for this. They understand that there is this imperative to identify this waste, fraud, and abuse in our government. I mean, there was this Harvard CAPS poll that just came out earlier this week. 67% of the American people believe that the debt level that we've sustained, $40 trillion, is unsustainable. 83% of the American people want a balanced budget. 77% of the American people want a full audit. 83% of the American people want reduced spending. Gentlemen, do you ever hear those kinds of numbers in any kind of poll? So it's overwhelming. So the political winds are on the side of the individuals, the deficit hawks, the individuals who want to understand that we cannot maintain this country cannot exist if we continue to incur $2 trillion worth of debt annually. We cannot exist if we have this profligate waste, fraud, and abuse. If we have the Department of Defense, for example, I'm not even going to exempt them, but the Department of Defense has never been subject to an audit. If they can't identify billions of dollars spent on any kind of significant program, we can't exist if the Environmental Protection Agency has the authority to just dole out billions of dollars in environmental justice grants. So there's all kinds of opportunities to identify these kinds of spending, and you have to have disruptors like Donald Trump. It's funny. Bill Clinton, if you look back on the videos, and you can Google this stuff, Bill Clinton and Al Gore were saying a lot of the similar things back in the 90s that you see Donald Trump and Elon Musk talking about today. Mm-hmm. So this effort has been really kind of germinating. Everybody's kind of known that there's been this problem throughout the federal government. She takes these pure disruptors in the form of Donald Trump with the public support and Elon Musk to take the necessary steps to effectuate the change.
Now, another aspect of this that makes me curious is the adjudication of the idea that the executive has to spend a certain amount of money. Like the executive doesn't have the option to not spend it. So even if the language says you shall spend $150 million on a Virginia class submarine, if you can get it for $100 million and save 50 billion, whatever, and why would the law necessitate that he spend the extra 50 anyway and just give it to the bill? You know what I mean? Like it's a very interesting question.
It's funny because, and then there's that old story about government budgeting, right? If you're budgeted $100 million and you only spend $70 million, you're only going to get $70 million the next year. So you have to figure out a way to spend that $30 million. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. It's the crazy world we live in with government spending and government budget. But yeah, I think that's your question you're talking about here. Of course, I think that there's the cases where if you can get better deals, but then the impoundment question. There's this law called the Impoundment Control Act that actually was passed back in the 19. Richard Nixon tried to do this. He tried when he had identified a lot of items he didn't want to spend money on in the government, and so he said there's a case back, the one case that kind of addressed tangentially called Justice Scalia actually identified Richard Nixon as the Mahatma Gandhi of impoundment. In other words, Richard Nixon was the guy who didn't want to spend a lot of money, and it's again the Supreme Court has not directly address the constitutional power of the chief executive, i.e. the president, to impound federal funds. And I think that we are poised to see whether that's going to get up there. Just a little inside baseball. Justice Kavanaugh, when he was serving as a circuit court judge, expressed extreme skepticism about that presidential power. And also Justice Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts, when he was serving as an attorney at the Office of Legal Counsel, adopted a memorandum written by Justice Rehnquist when he was a lawyer at the Justice Department, again expressing some skepticism about that impoundment power. So you have two justices who've been on the record, of course they weren't serving as the Supreme Court justices, who said that they had some skepticism about that particular power. But again, I think there is a lot of play in the joints here, gentlemen. There's a lot of opportunities and I think you're seeing this. The president has a lot of authority when it comes to dispensing foreign aid. He's at his strongest power when he's negotiating international relations. So I think you've got a lot more power there. So there's going to be some wins and there's going to be some losses. But I think, again, ideally, I as an attorney would like to see Congress do some necessary action. Now, you saw a bill passed by the House that got through the House yesterday. They're going to bump up against the funding date on March 14th. I want to see Congress actually stepping up and making some hard choices as well. It shouldn't be the president and Elon Musk and Doge and these executive agencies trying to do everything. The Congress has an important role here to play as well.
100%. All right. And Mike O'Neill from Landmark Legal Foundation. We've already tagged you on our social media, but once again, let's give that website out there.
Yeah, landmarklegal.org, landmarklegal.org. And you can check us out on Facebook too, Landmark Legal Foundation.
All right.
And on X as well.
We'll talk to you again soon, Mike. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, gentlemen. Bye-bye.
Yeah, he's 100% correct that Congress has to step up.
It's
time.
regardless of what's going on.
I mean, the EOs, the executive orders, that was one batch, but I think there's probably a lot of Republicans in Congress. They're like, I don't have to do the hard stuff. Just let the executive orders all just kind of hide out of the spotlight and just go along to get along. That you can't do that.
Nope. Time for you guys to step up.
They have to step up and take the heat, from the media and everything and do the right thing. I mean, I think Mike's completely right about that. All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I picked you out, I shook you up and turned you around, turned you into someone new.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
Success has been so easy for you.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Don't forget it's me who put you where you are now, and I can put you back down too. Don't you want me? You know I can't believe it when I hear that you won't see me. Don't you want me?
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here. I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer. News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airwaves for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-6766. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC. If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Did you see that video with small business administrator just confirmed Kelly Loeffler? I mentioned this yesterday. Decided to take some cameras and do a tour of one of the SBA offices there.
Oh, yeah,
in Washington, D.C.
Right.
Nobody was there.
Right. It was
because all the federal workers were like working, I'm using air quotes, remotely.
Of course. It's an empty building.
And of course, both government and obviously in the real sector, the private sector, people are being told to get back to work.
Right.
On that. So I'm going to help out the people who are making that transition back to work.
All right.
That. By the way, Lincoln Days coming up, Missouri Lincoln Days. Get more information at newstalkstl.com. Tim and Chris are going to do their show a week from Friday from Lincoln Days. That's going to be at the Sheridan Westport Chalet. You can learn more, like I said, newstalkstl.com. And if you're still looking to go to Lincoln Days, there's information there on how you can do that. All right, it is 7:54 right now. Okay, so I think there's a lot of people who have gotten so used to working from home, and there are people who work from home and are far more productive, and they love it. But other people, you just got to go back to work. If you're not familiar with how to do that, I think we should help out.
Yes.
So I have a PSA.
Okay.
Right
Excellent.
here.
All right.
To give you some tips for returning to the office. Just keep these things in mind.
First of all, you'll need something to cover your legs and groin area. No, not a pillow. They're called pants. Make sure your pants come with a button and zipper, not a drawstring or elastic waistband. Secondly, you'll need to go back to taking showers. Yes, every day. With soap. The best thing about Zoom meetings was no one could smell you. And finally, the biggest adjustment will be commuting. You will curse and make cruel nicknames for other drivers. Don't feel guilty. They are also cursing and nicknaming you. On the plus side, all those extra hours spent in your car mean more time listening to the radio. Good luck returning to the office. Don't forget your pants.
That's important information.
Yeah, that's right.
That is quite important information. Yes. Not just a pillow.
No.
Pants.
Pants.
With,
actual pants.
With a zipper.
Yes.
And not a drawstring.
No.
Right. Yes. Those are important details. That's a great PSA. What's funny is that I don't think that's just a joke.
No.
I think there are people who do need to be basically reacclimated to interacting with human beings on a regular basis. Right. I mean, it's like, hey, Zoom meetings can't smell you, but we can now that you're in the office.
Take a damn shower.
Yes, please.
There's one of those, and she shows up in my reels a lot on Facebook. I don't know what her name is, but she does one of those things where she plays a bunch of different characters.
Oh yeah,
one of those
to herself.
Talking to herself.
Yeah.
And
I've seen her a few times.
whole thing is the craziness of corporate America.
Oh yeah.
And she did a couple of these, like, hey, we're going to return to the office, and the way that all their different characters react. I don't know what her name is. Some of those are really funny.
Some of them
She's
are really good.
funny
Yeah, they make their own skits basically.
Right.
And they play all the characters.
It does what she does with this, and it's funny because I've worked in the corporate settings before, and she is so spot
on. Yes,
with so much of that, and it's funny because like I've got a setup at my house where I could do this show from there if I wanted to. I can do a show anywhere in this world from my house.
Yeah.
I personally would rather come into the office, but there's a lot of people that would love to just kind of hole up in their home and just work from there. And if you can be productive, that's great. But at some point, being in your work setting for a lot of industries is the way to go. At least check in, let them know you're a real person and not AI.
Oh, this stuff has been an introvert's dream, but we got to talk to people.
What if you could create AI to do your job for you?
Craving the freshest in town? Anthony's Produce is your daily destination for nature's finest. Start your day with warm, fresh baked Fazio's bread delivered daily. Browse our rainbow of quality fruits and vegetables, always fresh, always delicious. Hosting an event? Let us create stunning fruit bouquets and veggie trays, or treat someone special to our chocolate-covered strawberries. We proudly stock hundreds of locally made products, and yes, we even have seasoned firewood. Anthony's Produce opens 7 days a week, 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. at 701 Jungerman Road or anthonysproduce.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here, Serenity Wealth Management. Have you noticed? It is tax season. We're getting all kinds of wonderful pieces in the mail every single day telling us exactly what piece of fair share we get to give of our money for 2024. Well, folks, I want to tell you, it is time to turn the page on 24 and move on to 2025 and beyond. How can we take more control of our financial future? Eliminate some of the government partnership we might have in our retirement plans. That is the subject of my upcoming workshop, Tax Freedom in Retirement. folks, it's important. We want to try to cut the cord with the IRS. So join us. We have 2 nights to choose from. February 27th, which is a Thursday, or Tuesday, March the 4th at Liliana's Italian Kitchen in Cottleville. Visit our website for more information, SerenityWealthNow.com. That's SerenityWealthNow.com. Check out our events page.
Register at SerenityWealthNow.com. That's SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
KL2I HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rex Thomason. A federal budget blueprint important to the Trump agenda advances in the House.
Capitol Hill.
The ayes are 217, the nays are 215. Majority voting in the affirmative, the concurrent resolution is adopted.
House Republicans muscled their budget blueprint to passage.
We got it done.
House Speaker Mike Johnson.
We have a lot of hard work ahead of us, but we are going to deliver the America First agenda. We're going to deliver all of it, not just parts of it. And this is the first step in that process.
President Trump made calls to push reluctant Republicans to sign on to what he's called a big, beautiful bill. Ben Thomas, Washington.
President Trump says his Ukrainian counterpart may soon visit the White House amid word of an agreement on the U.S. accessing and sharing the wealth of Ukraine's rare earth minerals.
I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly it's okay with me, but he'd like to, and he would like to sign it together with me, and I understand that's a big deal, very big deal.
Mr. Trump says it would allow the U.S. to recoup the huge sums of money it has spent helping Ukraine defend itself against the Russian invasion. New York City Mayor Eric Adams asking a federal judge to toss out the corruption case against him, alleging prosecutorial misconduct. His request comes as the Department of Justice seeks dismissal of the charges on the mayor's behalf. The Federal Aviation Administration says an American Airlines plane arriving at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport aborted its landing, doing a go-around to avoid getting too close to another aircraft departing from the same runway. That maneuver yesterday, involving an American Airlines flight from Boston, occurred less than 2 hours before another plane attempting to land at Chicago's Midway Airport was forced to climb back into the sky to avoid a small business aircraft that was crossing the runway. No injuries in either case. Both planes did manage to land without further incident. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIE.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. A few sprinkles are possible this morning and into the afternoon. Accumulation so minor, I don't expect that you'll be using the windshield wipers much. And if you leave the rain gear at home, that's okay too. Mostly cloudy skies this afternoon, a high of 64 degrees. A weak front is pushing in. This would put our overnight temperatures back into the 30s tonight and keep us slightly lower for our temperatures on Thursday. We warm up Friday and then cool down for the weekend. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
At Elite Comfort Experts, they don't believe in gimmicks, just guarantees. And now they're teaming up with Amana Heating and Air Conditioning to bring you a 99-year compressor and heat exchange warranty and a 10-year parts and labor warranty on a high new efficiency HVAC system. This exclusive offer is available on qualifying systems installed before April 15th. Choose integrity and quality. Choose Elite Comfort Experts. Call Elite at 636-887-0971 or visit EliteComfortExperts.com. Mention the promo code NewsTalkSTL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore to tell you about Michael's Flooring. Michael's is known for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience.
Installing new flooring should be exciting, not a hassle you dread. Michaels has solved that, and their long list of happy repeat customers is proof. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, ceramic tile, it doesn't matter. Michaels Flooring, with 3 locations, St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, got a lot of ground to cover here. I want to follow up on this, like AI replacing jobs, and combine that with going back to a work thing we just talked about, because we had a few comments on the Rumble chat box,
which is open,
which is back open, because we had Rumble, not us. Rumble had some issues, but we're back up and running right now. All right, looks like there's going to be another showdown between the Trump administration and the Pritzker administration. Why is it anytime I think of and I shouldn't do the sophomoric humor like this, but whenever I think of there's going to be a showdown with anybody in Pritzker, I have the image of a sumo wrestling. I shouldn't do that. I mean, that's beneath me. I shouldn't do that.
See, instead of Yosemite Sam, you're thinking sumo wrestling.
That's right.
I get
exactly.
it.
Yeah,
you're right.
I mean, it's insane.
That's hilarious.
All right.
She's E Honda from Street Fighter.
Oh, man. All right. And when will the Epstein buyer client, whatever you want to call it, list be released? We have a theory.
Yes,
I'll tell
we
you
do.
about that here in just a second. And the Blues, man, they had themselves a night.
Sure did.
At Enterprise Center. Holy cow. All right. 8:06 right now. Let's dump some news on you.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
All right. House Republicans passed their first round of spending plan by a very narrow margin of 217 to 215. Now, I know you're thinking, okay, the Senate did that. Now the House did it. All done. Goes back to the president now, right? Nope.
No.
That now you get into the messy details and everything that goes along with that. So normally I would go, as I mentioned this a couple times today, normally I'd go get a conservative, get a Republican, and they would trumpet their big Republican victory. I think it's more fun to go find a leftist and get their reaction to losing the vote by 2. So here is Congressman Hakeem Jeffries.
Every single member of the House of Representatives was able to vote both on the Republican side and the Democratic side. And now every single member is on record. House Democrats on the side of the American people, and House Republicans on the side of their billionaire puppet masters and donors.
The only thing that would make that clip more fun is if you had a whiny crying baby, or playing in the background, because it would enhance the feeling that you're getting from Hakeem Jeffries complaining about I don't know spending cuts.
That's right.
I mean, what the American people asked for.
Is the bill perfect? No.
Well,
Are the Republicans getting everything right about this? No. But this is more in line with what President Trump is asking for, as in one big bill.
Right.
So it looks like both the Senate and the House are now on board with the one big bill, and then work out the details, because they both have to pass identical things for it to go to the president's desk.
Right. And Chris Arbs kind of wanted to add a little to this. He sent us a note that last night was what was passed was just an overall blueprint on spending. Now the hard part comes on actually deciding which programs to cut and fund. So this is where the real horse trading is going to be in. Right. This is where usually the boondoggles get added in. Yeah. This is good because you got to bring the bacon home to your district, right? So this is, I think, one of the going to be the major test of the Republicans to actually hold the line on what we sent them there to do, which is cut. That's
right. And basically, did you mean what you said in the campaign, Republicans?
That's right.
All right. Public schools in Illinois will continue to push LGBT indoctrination, despite the threat from the Trump administration to cut off funding for public schools for doing that. State Education Superintendent Tony Sanders recently sent a message to public schools instructing them to keep teaching LGBT, Black, and Asian history, and to continue to promote LGBT ideology in order to, and I'm using his words here, affirm, uplift, and support all our students and their families. A lot of people don't realize in Illinois, there's actually a state law that requires pro-LGBT indoctrination to be taught in public schools.
Because of course there is in Illinois.
Yes. And then they've also got Black history, and they've got Asian history. I don't know about other demographic groups, but that's all part of that. So I think we're headed for a showdown between the Pritzker administration and the Trump administration. We'll see whether the Trump administration follows through and holds back the funding for public schools, which then they'll go to court. They'll go to the federal court in Chicago, and then they'll rule against the Trump administration, and then we'll go from there. All right. Senator Marsha Blackburn, a Republican out of Tennessee, asking FBI Director Kash Patel to release more information about Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking network. Here's the story.
Epstein died in prison in 2019, and the criminal charges against him and the investigation were dropped as a result. That left a lot of unanswered questions amid speculation about who all may have been involved with Epstein. Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling on the new FBI director, Kash Patel, to release all information the Bureau has about the sex ring. The new transparency is something Blackburn says Patel promised to provide during his recent Senate confirmation hearings. Bob Hagner reporting.
And of course, Attorney General Pam Bondi has said that list is on my desk. The report is on my desk. And a lot of people are thinking, wait a minute, why haven't you just released it? When Bob said Epstein died in 2019.
Yeah.
That's 6 years ago.
That's crazy.
5 or 6 years ago. I don't remember what time of the year that he died. So 5 or 6 years ago.
He didn't kill himself.
He assumed, he assumed room temperature.
Let's
put it that way. At that point. And then we're thinking, why is it taking so long? But then Stell looked it up. Okay, when is that award show?
Oscars are coming up Sunday night.
Oh, I want.
I'm just saying.
Drop it Friday or Saturday or even Sunday morning. Ruin their party.
Okay, so if you drop it Saturday night, it gives the Sunday morning talking head shows enough leeway so that becomes the story of the day. So then once that's the story of the day, Sunday morning, all of the outlets are all over it.
There's one Sunday morning talking head show that's going to do anything with it, and that's Fox.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. The others won't touch it.
The others won't touch it.
But I mean, if this list is as bad and as broad as we are being led to believe, as in like the rumors are out there that it's major stars, like the most beloved stars and political figures, and also keep in mind in business and finance, it's not just celebrities.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We're talking, Epstein himself was a finance guy.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's how he came into all of that wealth and was able to do all the garbage that he did. So, but Hollywood, would have, some of the biggest, they've already been hit with the Diddy stuff.
Yes. That was kind of the start, right?
Of
this stuff. I would love to see it. Now, here's the thing. Would releasing it, because Friday feels like a dumping ground, right?
Because Friday is taking out the trash.
Right. That's usually when they dump news that they don't want to talk about, right? Yeah. So would it be better then to release it on Thursday?
Oh yeah.
Right. So then you give people time to talk it up on Friday, and people to if you release it publicly and electronically, people can search it. Then now you got social media
so that's
going crazy on over the weekend. Yeah, maybe. I'm just saying.
Jeez. I just, this could be a very interesting weekend.
I'm hopeful. I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah. All right. It looks like one of, if not the biggest food festival in the area is moving out of the city and moving to Clayton. Organizers of the Taste of St. Louis Festival are working with the suburb to hold the event there this year. The festival and Clayton leaders are still working out the final details. There's basically a verbal agreement that's in place, but they got to figure out all the logistics and the cost and the security and all that sort of stuff. The Taste of St. Louis was most recently held at Ballpark Village. They have moved it out of the city before. It was, I want to say, for 4 years in Chesterfield, and then came back to the city in 2019. And then last year, I'm almost positive last year they were at Ballpark Village. And so now they're talking about moving it out to Clayton. The organizers were very careful to go, has nothing to do with safety and crime.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anybody believe that?
Yeah. Nobody believes that.
No,
not one person. Yeah. Because the thing is, I heard it's in Clayton.
Right.
I might go.
Yeah.
That was my initial thought.
Yep. And I know exactly where they're, it's that there's that retail and, restaurant area there that basically normally after 5 or 6 o'clock, the place shuts down.
Oh,
they roll up the sidewalks.
They roll up the
sidewalks and it's gone. There's nothing there. So this would be a big deal in Clayton. There's a lot going on during the day in Clayton, but it's not exactly a nightclub scene.
No,
out there.
Clayton's the seat of the of St. Louis County, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of government business. There's the courthouse right there and all that other
Yep.
stuff. Like that has been mostly my experience with Clayton is going to trying to evict people from my
people are when you were a
when I was
landlord,
a landlord, yeah.
but people go there for work.
Yeah.
They have a very nice lunch there, and maybe a dinner after work, and then they go home.
Right.
Yeah. So there's just not that much out there otherwise.
But Clayton's now trying to expand that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're trying to turn themselves into a spot now. So
and they're kind of succeeding. You know, they really are. All right. Yesterday we told you about Vivek Ramaswamy saying he's going to run for governor of Ohio. Well, another rising conservative star doing something similar. Florida Congressman Byron Donalds announcing that he's running for governor of Florida, will not be running for re-election in the U.S. House. He was on Hannity last night on Fox.
I have a long history in the conservative movement, and I have one of the strongest conservative records, both in the State House and up here in Congress, that proves that I will not let you down, that all of the victories and the successes that Florida has been able to accomplish, we're only going to take that and build upon it. We're going to continue to be the freest state.
I've got mixed feelings.
Yeah, me too.
You know how much I like Byron Donalds?
Love him.
Like, I don't want to lose you in Washington, D.C.
My contention, I think we both kind of agreed on this, was he would make a great speaker eventually.
Yes.
Right. So my hope was that he would stay there. He would refine himself. He'd work his way up the path to becoming speaker,
or to the U.S. Senate,
or to the Senate. I would love him though as speaker, just because imagining him basically wielding the same level of power as Nancy Pelosi for however many years, and therefore controlling the overall direction of the party, because it's really what the speaker does.
Oh yeah.
I would have loved that idea, but I think he's trying to put himself on the path of the presidency.
I think he is too. And also he and his wife, I think they've got a couple like small kids.
Right.
So being able to go home in Tallahassee is going to be a whole lot easier lifestyle for a young family.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm like, okay, I really wanted to see him make a move for speaker, like you said. I'm like, I really like Byron Donalds, but even if he ended up in the U.S. Senate, I could see him and Eric Schmidt like being like BFFs.
Oh, there is that too. Yeah.
We've got Bob Hoge coming up at 8:35 from RedState.
Yes.
And one of his latest articles yesterday was on Byron making the decision. So we can ask what comments he might have.
Right, precisely. And also, and I did not know this until Stell mentioned this, and I looked it up, and so apparently there is talk of Governor DeSantis's wife, the First Lady Casey DeSantis, running for governor.
I don't like that.
I did not know that. I'm a big Ron DeSantis guy.
Same.
But I can't say this hits me the right way.
I don't like the legacy stuff. I don't like the family relation stuff.
I don't like the dynasty thing.
Like maybe it worked back in the day where you would the sons would take over from their fathers because they learned at their father's knees, and like it was very much an apprentice, master sort of situation.
John Quincy Adams did a fine.
Back in the day, I understand how that was a thing.
George W. Bush.
These days, I don't like it.
Yeah.
These days, I'm just like, nope. That it's not that you learned from your dad. It's that you're just straight up nepotism, and I don't like you. You're a nepo baby. Yeah, and same goes for close relations, like uncles and brothers and
we've
had
wives. We've had dynasties with different families recently, between Clinton and Bush and some of the others.
Could even toss the Kennedys in
Kennedy.
there.
Oh yeah, totally with Kennedys. But I mean I have nothing against Casey DeSantis.
Oh no, it's just the concept.
But I don't believe that being the First Lady qualifies you to be the governor.
Yeah, the last time we did this was Hillary Clinton, guys.
Well, but I will say this though, and I cannot believe I'm about to utter these words. Give me a second. In Hillary Clinton's defense, God,
jeez,
she did win U.S. Senate and served in the U.S. Senate, and she was Secretary of State. Now she was a bad senator and a bad Secretary of State,
right?
But she at least did have the resume to run.
She's capable of. Well, yeah, but that's the thing. It's like when she ran for Senate after being First Lady, I was just like, what is this carpetbagger doing?
Right. Totally.
By the way, I'm from New York. Yeah. And she shows up in Chappaqua, which is down the street from where I grew up.
Yeah.
I'm like, just because you bought a house in Chappaqua doesn't mean you get to represent me, lady. So anyway.
All right. The Blues, I'm going to quote The Rock here. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The Blues layeth the smacketh down on the Kraken in Enterprise last night. Final score was 7-2. And every single one of those 7 goals was scored by a different Blues player.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
It made the rounds.
Jordan Bennington had 25 saves on the night. You get a goal, and you get a goal, and you get a goal. That concludes a very long homestand.
Unless you were shooting against Benny.
Yeah, really. No, you don't get goals. That was like a 3.5-week homestand if you include the break for the Four Nations face-off.
Sure, they love that.
Oh, yeah. So the Blues play in Washington on Thursday.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You want to give me more information? You want to take the place of what I trust? Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these 2 young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Attorney General Andrew Bailey. I just realized who you remind me of now that you're rocking the beard. Do you and J.D. Vance get mistaken for each other?
Uh-oh.
Guys could be brothers, I think. Yeah, which is a good thing.
We served in Iraq at the same time. Our nation's in a good spot with this administration coming in office.
Do you wear eyeliner?
I do not. I'm not quite that cool.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL on a Garage. And we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
We might have to follow up on this Florida governor's race drama here at some point as well. Byron Donalds.
We have opinions.
Yeah. I've got such mixed feelings because I really like Byron Donalds.
Yes.
And if he can hold fast and not become part of the problem, which
part of the machine,
which tends to happen in Washington, D.C., I was really hoping that we could have a Speaker Donalds down the road.
Yes. That would have been
now he would have to be seasoned for a little while because he's still young.
He's still very young, actually.
Very young guy. But he's announcing that he's running for governor of Florida. But apparently the first lady, Casey DeSantis, is also looking at running for governor. Like I said, I'm a Ron DeSantis guy, and
I even like Casey. I mean,
I don't have any beef with
from
her
what I've
whatsoever.
seen of her. Yeah,
it just hits me weird. I'm not wild about that. And I think DeSantis is the best governor in the country.
Yes,
with the receipts and the results to prove it. Had we actually had a caucus or any primary that meant anything in Missouri, that's who I would have voted for. But it just hits me. I don't like it.
Now, if she announced that she was running for a local seat, like a state Senate position or something like that, I'm all for it.
All in.
Because that's essentially the entry level.
Well, and that's
of
a
government
citizen
stuff.
legislative position.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're entering government service, then you start there. You don't start at the big boss of the whole state. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it. All right. 824. We're going to talk to Bob Hoge from RedState here at around 8:35. By the way, which, he wrote, Stell pointed out, he wrote an article on Byron Donalds, but he also wrote a few different pieces in the last couple of days over the left still having meltdowns over Trump getting victory after victory after victory, and policy-wise, and also in the court of public opinion, and they still don't understand why they're losing.
Yeah.
What is it about being on the hard left that gives you that block that makes it impossible for you to look at yourself and go, maybe the problem's me?
Yeah, self-reflection seems to be anathema to the left.
Wow. So he had a couple. I texted him last night, and I'm like, I love these articles. Can we pull on like 3 of these things? So we're going to talk to him here in just about 10 minutes or so.
Did you guys hear what James Carville said yesterday?
I did not.
That the Republican Party should just give up, lay down.
Oh,
that's it.
While we're winning,
we're done. This is the worst Republic. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was my fault. Democratic Party. I'm sorry.
The Democratic Party.
There you go. Yeah.
A Democratic Party should just lay down and die.
Well,
we have no leadership. We have nothing going on.
Well, that's good advice, though.
Well, actually, but the funny thing is that Carville, when he's sane, really, it does have an interesting outlook because he is capable of looking at the left.
Yes, he does have some measure of self-reflection
and being critical of
it.
Right. Well, you have to be if you're the old school campaign guys.
You want to win.
And he was one of the guys that took Clinton to victory twice because he was able to go, here's what people can't stand about you. Here's what you have to mitigate. And you have to be honest about yourself on that. And with the Democrats, and he has said multiple times over the years, they've lost their freaking minds. I mean, on the LGBT stuff, the gender ideology, the pro Islamic terrorism stuff. I mean, it's just, you name it.
Even the spending stuff.
The spending, yeah.
Because we were just talking about how during the Clinton administration, they were talking about cutting costs and doing all these other things. It's like, that was Carville's, triumphant era, right? And now they've gone away from the immigration and spending. If you had taken what people had said, if you had taken what people said in the 90s on the Democrat side about immigration, spending, and even gay marriage and things like that, it's like, who are these horrible right-wing extremist Republicans? It's like, so of course, James Carville looking at the current version of the Democrat Party has got to have a little bit of heartburn.
Now, he called it a strategic political retreat.
Yeah.
Interesting way to phrase it.
Here's the thing is, you remember during early in the campaign, so we're going back, a couple years. And I had mentioned, I said, if the Democrats were ever smart enough to truly run somebody who's maybe center left as opposed to dingbat left wing, I think they would have run the table.
Oh yeah,
in the election, because I mentioned, I said, if they'd run like Joe Manchin, Tulsi Gabbard,
if they had a Manchin Gabbard ticket,
they would have probably won by a couple of touchdowns and had control of Congress.
Yes, I think you're right.
Honestly, I don't know that there were any Republicans who might have been able to beat that ticket,
because the folks in the middle, to be fair, on some level have been indoctrinated to be biased against Republicans.
Yeah.
But so they would have seen these center left sort of figures in Manchin and Gabbard as the adults in the room. They would have seen, that's how the squishy middle electorate would have seen them.
But Manchin truly is probably the last centrist.
Probably,
the last major national figure centrist. He really probably is.
Yeah, he still had some, fairly liberal ideas.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right. So
he's on the left, but he's right on the last
center left. Yeah.
Yes, with the center left. But that shows you, for instance, we're going to talk to Bob Hoge about this in a little bit here. Like the left, like, how can Trump keep winning? And a lot of them are still saying, how could people have elected him?
Yeah.
Okay, did you see your ticket? Have you seen what you've become?
Right. What all of you say in front of cameras on a regular basis.
I mean, you can go through all of the quirks and character flaws and everything of Trump, and the voters said it's not as bad as you.
Still better than those guys.
Still better than you.
You know, there was an Ipsos poll that came out a couple of days ago that showed Trump's approval ratings going down a bit below 50%. But then the one comes out from Harvard yesterday that showed him at 52, 53% approval and much, much higher in certain categories, 70, 75% approval. So Carville made this comment a couple of days ago also. Think about this. I believe that this administration, the Trump administration, in less than 30 days is in the midst of a massive collapse in 30 days. I have no idea what he's talking about.
I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think of that would possibly have a bottom fall out for Trump is if the courts just wreck his executive orders. And
so
even,
nothing actually gets implemented.
Right. I mean, and even then you go to the appeals court and you go back because that's about his power. And he's been far more careful about his executive orders.
The way they're crafted.
The way that they're crafted. So I think eventually he's going to win on most of those. But I will say this is that, and we've said this before, that with the momentum that Trump has got right now, and Congress has got to step up and do its part, truly the first 6 months of this administration is the most important. Clearly.
Yeah, first 100 days.
Yeah. And I would even say with Trump, because he does do, Trump, I would say that 100 days for Trump could be up to 6 months. I really do. I think he can get more. I think he can get more than most presidents would be able to get.
Yeah, because 100 days would only be just over 3 months.
Right.
So
we're looking at
give him
end
another
of next
couple.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's got that momentum. But after that, guess what? The 2026 election comes around and everybody gets stupid.
Yeah. Republicans, you better not mess this up, because I think we're on track to keep what we are current and probably do better, because the left is still crazy. So it would be our loss if we don't take this.
Republicans would never mess it up.
You got to keep pedal to the metal.
Oh God!
Keep pushing on that gas pedal.
The heck you say, Gabe?
Oh man!
I, for one, trust the GOP in Washington D.C. to not mess it all up.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. A few sprinkles are possible this morning and into the afternoon. Accumulation so minor, I don't expect that you'll be using the windshield wipers much. And if you leave the rain gear at home, that's okay too. Mostly cloudy skies this afternoon, a high of 64 degrees. A weak front is pushing in. This would put our overnight temperatures back into the 30s tonight and keep us slightly lower for our temperatures on Thursday. We warm up Friday and then cool down for the weekend. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Fox News commentary.
The poll numbers are in, and this is how voters really feel about President Trump. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
It's awful, huh?
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
The Democrat Party is in shambles. Their natural inclination is to assert it's the Republican Party that's on the brink of disaster. The media is feeding us stories of town hall meetings across the country where so-called Republican voters express fire and fury over what Trump has done so far. Well, those instances may be happening, but they're anecdotal and not at all indicative of the reality. Don't take my word for it. Just look at the Harvard Caps Harris poll. President Trump has a 52% approval rating after his first full month of mega. Not only is this higher than comatose Biden's January 2021 numbers, 58% 35% think he's doing a better job than Joe. And turns out 33% strongly approve of President Trump's job performance so far. And this is my favorite. 81% of those surveyed support the deportation of criminal illegal aliens. So you bet your bottom dollar we're getting our votes worth. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Let the American people see what's going on here.
News Talk STL.
Pay close attention.
St. Louis is number one.
Bottom line is this. St. Louis is number one.
For conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
All right, I've got a website I want you to look up. Ignite, IGNITEPAH.com. That stands for Ignite Performance and Health. Let me tell you what this is not. This is not another gym that I want you to go, hey, check it out, get a membership and do some reps and do some squats, and then you're all good to go. Ignite Performance and Health is a medical clinic and a private gym with real physicians working with expert coaches, and they work together to give you back control of your health. Listen, I get it. You know what? You've had the kids, you need to get up to high school or get off to college. You needed to build that business. You're now getting towards the age where you're going to be an empty nester, or your kids are at least in high school, and you realize you didn't prioritize your own health all these years. And now you have a doctor saying, I need you on all of these medicines, or you're at risk for diabetes, or you're at risk for these other things. Well, what you have are medical professionals at Ignite, and they are going to work with you to give your body, including with medication, the right relationship with food, full service, total body recomposition program, combining all of the components you need to take ownership of your health again. You invest in your 401k, you invest in your car maintenance to keep it running, but so many of us don't invest in our health. And then we get to a certain age and we think it's too late. Well, it's not with Ignite. Their mission is to help everybody they work with achieve the body they've always wanted, but not been able to obtain. But it's bigger than that. It's not just you're going to look good. It's about reclaiming your health and being in control once again. We're talking complete, holistic, integrative nutrition coaching, obviously private strength training, but testosterone and estrogen-based hormone replacement therapy as part of weight loss medicine. Matter of fact, you meet with them, ignitepah.com. They're in Clayton, or on Chesterfield on Clayton Road. Get yourself a free vitamin B shot, get a free consultation. Ignite Performance and Health. This is where real change starts. Real change starts here. Visit ignitepah.com today. And remember, this is not just go join a gym. You can do that anywhere. And if you got the discipline to do it, that's great. But what you have here is somebody saying, we're going to have a team that's going to empower you to reclaim the health that so many of us, frankly, neglected over the years because life got in the way. It's not too late. Work with the professionals, medical professionals, to give you the body and the health that you need. Once again, look this up, ignitepah.com, IGNITEPAH.com. Go visit, go meet with them and see what they can do for you, and tell them that you heard Mike talking about them on the radio.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
When you've been hurt in an accident, you need a law firm that wins. Onder wins. For over 100 years, Onder Law has been winning for St. Louis. With over $5 billion in negotiated settlements and over $300 million in verdicts, Onder wins. Voted best law firm by STL Today 2 years in a row, Onder wins. Whether it's settlements, verdicts, or awards, Onder wins. If you've been hurt in a car accident, trucking accident, or hurt on the job, Onder Law will get you the money you deserve. At Onder Law, winning is what we do. So when the stakes are high, Onder wins. Call us today for a free consultation. We don't get paid unless we win for you. Dial 314 or 6189-million. That's 314 or 6189, then all zeros. Or visit us online at onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Company, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Susie Moore. Check out my show, RedState Radio, Sunday afternoon at 4, right here on News Talk STL. Now it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I think we may have stumbled across the question to put out for everybody, maybe on Friday.
Yeah, I think
maybe on Friday.
Definitely a Friday
We'll
question.
just warn you on this one because I was complaining about like pop-ups showing up on these news websites I was looking at during
Because
that
they're
information.
terrible.
They're annoying.
It's the worst thing ever.
And Gabe's like, there ought to be a law. Okay, so I'm the most probably libertarian in the room here.
Yes.
And so we got to the question, what would make us violate our small government principles? Because there ought to be a law because that's so stinking annoying or
It's
stupid.
terrible. Yes.
Maybe Friday.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yes. And hey, and bring yours to the table, by
That's
the way.
right.
He's like,
There ought to be a law.
Have them queued up.
I will give up for this moment
The
my
libertarian
small government principles because
yes.
there ought to be a law on that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should do that. All right, joined now by Bob Hoge from RedState.com. Bob, you've been busy, man. Look at all, man, you were like going nuts on Red State with all these articles here. I want to ask you about Byron Donalds because we were just talking about that whole situation here in a couple minutes. But there were a couple of the articles that you've written. You can go to RedState.com and then just look up Bob for his articles here. I wanted to talk about, like, for instance, with Joy Reid getting canceled and, you know, her show's gone now. And then, of course, you wrote an article, Kamala cheerleader Mark Cuban continues to humiliate himself, unable to comprehend reasons for the Trump victory. And that goes along with, I think, you know, with Joy Reid, because what she did has value.
So important.
Has value. Has value. If you just keep saying it enough times, it's like a genie. It pops up and go, yes, you're true. And so the one of the things that I'm seeing in that pattern, and Cuban kind of personifies this, is that the hard left is unable for some reason to look into the political mirror and understand why they're losing. You know, there are people who look at, for instance, Donald Trump and say, what they hate him, what a terrible guy, the orange man bad, all that sort of thing. And they'll list all of Donald Trump's, sins and character flaws. And then I'm over here saying, okay, what does that say about how bad you've become?
Exactly.
If this person that you think's the devil incarnate is whooping your butt right now. And I love that you approach that way.
Yeah. Interesting thing, though, you say that a lot of people, we saw the whole devil incarnate thing for 4 years last time around. It's less this time. Every poll shows that Americans are loving what he's doing, which is even blue states, which is kind of incredible. I'm on the White House email list. It's like a faucet that's broken. It never stops.
Fire hose.
Just every time I look at my email, I'm like, oh my God, stop, give me a break. But no, we're loving it, of course. But Mark Cuban is emblematic of what they learned from all this, the Democrats, which is nothing. Because he went on, we had CPAC, Conservative Political Action Committee in D.C. Over the weekend, I think, and they had another one. Gosh, I'm forgetting the name, but they had basically an anti-Trump sort of Republican.
Yeah, the first principles, the first principles.
Yeah,
thing,
principles, and that was kind of a disaster. Mark Cuban spoke, and he just showed that he's taking all the wrong lessons. He said, "We messaged badly," and you just want to say, "No, it's not. You can't do anything with your message because it sucks." And they just keep thinking if they say it differently, or if they do a different sort of ad, or if they couch it in a different way, that somehow their wild-eyed progressivism is suddenly going to be something that everybody wants. And we had it for 4 years under Joe Biden, and the American people very loudly said, no, thanks. We don't like where this leads. So, and then Joy Reid, of course, learned nothing and went on. And yes, as you said, my show has value, and bawled, on national TV, and then called everybody fascist. And it's just not working anymore.
No. And by the way, the first principles thing, it's totally legitimately bipartisan because Adam Kinzinger was there. So totally bipartisan.
So it's bipartisan. Yeah. Okay. Good morning, Bob. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So I'm shocked, honestly, at how much they are doubling down on what I call the 80-20 issues, right? Where 80% of the electorate, 80% of America is pretty much in line with the ideas of, let's say, getting rid of government waste, fraud, and abuse. And the Democrats are screaming to the hills and sending people out in protests, in their AstroTurf movements to speak out against these things. What makes them think that's the right way to go?
You got me. Good morning. Nice to speak to you. But one of the funniest images, I think, of all time, actually, but especially of the current time, is Chuck Schumer doing some protest against the Doge. I think it was outside some government building, and he's going, "We will win. We will win." Just looked so tired and pathetic and pointless. And you get the feeling that they're literally out there with signs going, "We want waste."
Yes.
Because that's what they're doing. They're literally saying, "No, don't cut waste. That's a terrible thing. It's going to hurt somebody somewhere." And in a way, it's kind of sad, but not really, because I enjoy it because they deserve it, and it is just mind-boggling that they can't wrap their heads around it. There was a poll that somebody wrote about at RedState, my friend Ward Clark, I believe, that just showed 80% of Americans like what he's doing on illegals. I'm getting the numbers wrong, but just huge numbers of people approving of what Trump is doing. And there's a great moment that I want to write about where John King from CNN goes to Colorado to interview a bunch of blue state people. And you know what he's hoping for. He's hoping they're going to go, "Oh, he's the devil, the orange head." And they're like, "No, I kind of like him." So it's really pretty funny to watch, actually.
Good morning, Bob. Stel Ponticus here. So I got this note from a couple of my lefty friends. Yes, I do have a few online.
I got a few too.
And one of them concerns an economic blackout that's scheduled for this Friday, the 28th. Spend no money at Walmart, Target, Amazon, and any major chains. Don't buy gas, don't buy fast food, but make sure you do it all the day before so that you get that taken care of. So, and there are two more. I'm just mentioning these because I'm wondering what your thoughts are about the Clueless thing. March 7th through the 14th, a protest against the U.S. and the world. Oligarch number one is Amazon. Don't buy anything from Amazon for a week. Whoa. All right. And then on Friday, March 14th, there's also a national strike. No work for 24 hours. All workers, all businesses, and all higher education don't do anything. And then underneath in parentheses, it says, "This is not a march."
That would be too much work for them.
Yeah.
But from the sounds of it, the day off work, are we going to even notice? Sounds like a lot of them aren't doing anything anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, this sounds like another sort of way out there. Let's just flail some more and try and convince everybody. And they keep bringing out fascism, and I looked it up. And it's just not the definition of fascism what we're seeing here. It's certainly he's taking strong control and he's making strong decisions, which is nice to see after all this time. But he's not a dictator, and he's not trying to make some national violent party that wants to take over the world. And so it's just kind of falling on deaf ears. And the Hitler stuff, it's just gotten so old that I think people are just plain tuning it out. You guys remember Andrew Yang?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
in 2020. And he seemed like a nice guy, actually. Don't want to dig him too hard. But he was a little bit loony, but he sort of spiced it up when you had Joe Biden and all these people that just none of them seemed ready for prime time, and yet they were on the debate stage for the Democratic nominee. And he sort of spiced it up. But he went on X yesterday, Twitter, formerly Twitter, and did a poll about Trump's popularity.
I think I saw this.
You know what he was hoping for, which was everybody to go, "Oh, it's the worst thing in the world." And of course, she got ratioed into next month because I think it was 75% said, "We love it."
It's amazing.
6% said, "Oh, it's terrible." So I think they're finding out, Chuck Schumer and Joy Reid and all these folks are just finding out the hard way that people are liking what's happening.
But that's the thing, Bob, is they're not finding out. They're still trying to figure out why they're losing when they believe everybody's on their side, and they're not. I mean, that's the whole thing is like, it's amazing to me that they can't see why they are so out of touch. It's basically like, all of you are wrong. If I just tell you enough, you're going to come back home and support us. And I think they're honestly thinking, I'm going to wake up from this leftist nightmare at some point. And they're not. I mean, it's just the momentum is against them, and they are doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on the stupid that got them in this position in the first place.
Absolutely. And it's a wonderful thing to see because, as some of us have pointed out, the longer they do this, the more elections they're going to lose, and that can only be good. But one of the indications of exactly what you're talking about is some polling. Most polling shows Kamala Harris as the leader for the Democrat nominee in 2028.
I saw that.
Wow.
And she's also the runaway leader for California governor, because Gavin Newsom thankfully is termed out. But what on earth makes them think running that again is going to work? It's pretty clear that there's no way in heck that she would have a prayer of winning after what we saw out of her. Another indication of how clueless they are is Gavin Newsom, our governor here in the Golden State, put $50 million, I believe it was, aside to Trump-proof the state. Same day he was doing that, he was going to Trump and said, "Hey, can I have $40 billion?"
Yeah, right. Saw that.
It's like, oh my God, you just don't have a mirror, do you?
None.
Now, we were discussing the possibility of a rare midterm success by the president's party because of how crazy the left is. What do you make of the possibility of that sort of unprecedented victory?
Well, that's an interesting thing. I mean, as you know, that often midterms are not good for the incumbent president. So it would be an amazing feat if he were able to, and the Republicans were able to, maybe even gain seats. Would give us some nice breathing room, because it is very tight, especially in the House. That being said, there's a lot of time between now and then, and this administration is moving like nothing I've ever seen in my life. So there's going to be so much news between now and then, hopefully good, but we'll just have to see. That would be a kind of historic feat. I'm sure it's happened before, but it doesn't happen often. Usually the incumbent often gets kind of shellacked, I believe, by Obama when midterms got killed. Not killed, but crushed. Right. So we'll just have to see.
Absolutely. All right, Bob Hoge, RedState.com. Just look up. I would say look at this art, but there's like you've been so busy. You've got like 4 or 5 really good ones out there.
And we didn't even get to talk about
including
Byron Donalds,
including the take on Byron Donalds as well. So we've got to run to the next information segment. Hey, Bob, appreciate you being on again, man. It's always fun.
Always great. Thanks so much.
All right. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, and I'm excited to invite you to State Lincoln Days in St. Louis, Missouri, this March 7th through 9th. Go online and get tickets today at missouri.gop and join us for food, fun, and fellowship where you can hear from conservative leaders from across this state, special guest speakers you won't hear anywhere else. It's a new day in Missouri, a new day in America, and we're excited to join together at State Lincoln Day in St. Louis, Missouri, this March 7th through 9th.
Get your tickets today at mogop.org.
Paid for by the Missouri Republican Party. Jennifer Finch, Treasurer.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here. Exciting things are happening at the Hideout in High Ridge. Famous for the Sunset Patio, 4 big screen TVs, live music and events, and of course, the wings. The Hideout now has a brand new menu featuring handcrafted burgers and new items like their signature sunset dip and Dave's Chili. And now a second location, the Hideout at Sugar Creek Golf Course in High Ridge, featuring great event space. You can stop by for lunch or dinner. The new 2025 Hideout and the new Hideout at Sugar Creek Golf Course. We'll see you there.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Colombo and Company.
Wednesday, we'll update you on all the latest national news from Trump, Elon, and the rest. We'll also dig into local news with Missouri political insider Rodney Boyd at 2:20, plus closest cabinet at 3:05.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
You know, they're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
We were talking about AI taking over different jobs
Yes.
a little bit ago. And then we also talked about people having to go back to work, to the office.
Right.
Here's my question. If I was working from home and I came up or I found an AI program to do my job and get everything done, and I just lounged and worked out and watched movies all day, is there anything wrong with that as long as the AI is getting the work done for me?
No. In my view, the work you put in was in first understanding the AI, second programming it in such a way that it can actually be productive. That's basically what entrepreneurs do.
Yeah, you would deserve a raise.
You would
I
deserve
think
a
so.
raise.
Yes. I read a story. This has been a couple years ago. There was some guy who was, I don't remember if he was working remotely or whatever it was, but he literally contracted with somebody in India to do his programming work.
Yeah, I saw
You
that.
saw that too?
I saw that, yeah.
And so that guy did it for like a fraction of the cost and did a good job. And this guy just got everything done. He got assigned something at work. He had this guy do it. Then he turned it in and it was all right. And he was like employee of the month several times. And then they figured out that he was just outsourcing his work. And they're like, you're fired.
Right. It's like, well, I mean,
Why?
I guess
You were delivering the work. What's it matter?
Now, I suppose if they figured out that they could just hire the guy from
Right,
India,
yeah,
then,
that's
then
right.
yeah, it would make sense to fire the middleman and then go with the cheaper option. But yes, that's basically that's how business works.
Yeah.
Right. It's like if I create a business, I'm essentially inserting myself as a middleman between you, my client, and whatever contributors to my productivity exists. So yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. Now, I do think you have to be upfront about it. At least not how the sausage is made, but that you're making sausage.
That you're making.
I'm just saying.
All right, don't forget Flashback Friday coming up. Send Stell your 80s bump music request. Get real creative this week, everybody.
Parents want more choices rather than fewer when it comes to their children's education. And now some Missouri parents will have one more option to get their children the best education available. Low-income students and those with disabilities in Missouri's largest communities can now apply for an Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA. With an ESA, the money the state would normally pay to your child's public school goes into an account that you control. You can use the funds for private school tuition, online learning programs, a private tutor, or other approved uses. You can tailor your child's education.